Going live. Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 114. Now, we got some guests at the moment, John, and we've also got Earl, Chief MUFON Investigator from Southern California with us, and we'll get him to talk about what he does again for the newcomers. And yeah, I'll just cue off the intro and some music. Let's see if hopefully it's working. We've got it all working on a new setup here. Can't hear music. Oh, here comes the music. Okay. Got two watching, one mic. It should rotate. They've changed a few things, Google, overnight. Hopefully there's music playing.
I hope so. I'm just going to pretend like I hear it, you know.
I don't think it's rotating. I think it's...
Actually, I'm not hearing it.
I don't hear any music. How about...
You're not hearing any music?
No.
Do, 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 do.
Is it hearing you?
Yeah, there's no music.
I hear me.
Why is there no music?
Well, that's no good.
No, it's no good.
I can whistle.
You have a lovely...
Is it really no music? Looks like it's going to me, guys. The volume buttons are going up.
Oh, I hear something now.
You guys are just pulling my leg.
For a second. Cheers.
It's gotta be going.
It is now.
John. It's hard to get good out. Yeah, that's why you need two computers to really check it. Hopefully it's in the middle too.
I like that little alien doing this thing.
Yeah, Gerard Artist.
Hello. Hello from Zeta Reticuli.
Good to be back. They are killing the music now, which hopefully it was playing. So, let's just pause the intro and switch. I think it's paused. Here we go. Alien agenda. I think that's good.
The alien agenda.
So
they're coming to get you, Paul.
So normally I would check it on here, but it makes this crazy echo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if it works. Anyway, this is all a new setup with new mixers, software mixers, so we can join Discord and Hangouts together. Well, actually, any two chat program. It's quite a powerful setup, actually. Running on my i7 here, or on one poor little laptop with dual screens at the moment of a keyboard that's sort of just self-destructing. But there's no one on Discord, so we're not going to be able to test it.
Well,
We're not going to be able to test
there
it
you
out. But we got people on Hangouts anyway. He's doing this UFO thing.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't get that on the big screen. Anyway, let's see if it plays back here. Hang on.
do it again. Do you want it on the big screen?
Oh, you can do it again in a minute. Hang on.
All right.
I didn't even check the volume on this. I forgot to do that. Hang on.
All right. I love production values. Yeah.
I didn't even check the volume on this. I forgot to.
California people. All right.
I know. We're Californicated, as you know.
Looks like it's hang on. Looks like
All
it's
right.
working.
I love
it looks like it's
production.
working. We got a few comments down the side already. So you want to do your UFO intro thing, do you?
Oh, good.
Hang on. I'll just make it full screen. There's Earl from MUFON. You want to introduce yourself? And it opens up, doesn't that one?
No, not this one.
Oh, okay.
But it's coming. It's coming for you, Paul.
Yeah. So
it's on its way to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Hello.
You should have got that levitating magnet thing I was talking about for $80 US. So then you could stick it on the platform and have it spinning.
Maybe we'll see.
So who we got on the side? I better do a welcome message down here.
It's Vern.
Oh, Vern. Why is he not on Hangouts?
I don't know. I just told him to go on Hangouts.
Or Discord, one or the other. I'll just type this up. So we got the nice black theme now because Google have changed things overnight, which you believe. You know, you think, oh, we've tested it all. It's all going to go nicely. So I've got to remember to type the E key on the numpad. Slows me down. So yeah, we're up to 114 live streams. Who would have thought I'd done that?
Congratulations! That's quite an accomplishment.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bucket.
Bucket load. There we go. Vern's not on the PC at home.
Right.
Okay.
So
he'll be on the side asking questions maybe, but he's the one that's talking about alien agendas and what he thinks it is, that they're using our blood for something. That's what he believes. So yeah.
Well, it took a little bit of mine, so.
Yeah, that's a crazy story of yours. So yeah, I don't know if this page I brought up just for the intro is talking about anything like that. It was just a random page I just brought up. Are we alone in the universe? Topics there. In a nutshell, what is the alien agenda? So he has written some stuff there. Probably could up the font a wee bit. If that still works. Yes, it does. There we go. Skeptics, I mentioned.
You know,
Drake equation. So this guy's got it summed up pretty well here, actually. What's this one here? Hang on. And this, why the secret government will eventually be discarded. Yeah, I have some theories on that too. Oh, he's got a lot of topics here. And the soul. Why can't aliens stay in our physical environment? So he's got a lot of theories here. What about military abductions? Yeah, your one kind of sounded like a psych op, man, the story that you told. How can one stop being abducted? We've talked about that a few times already. Can anything be done to stop the alien agenda? Why are they doing what are they doing to counter the possibility of people waking up and resisting? Well, that does happen, doesn't it? Your wife.
It happens a little bit.
Your wife wakes up.
A little bit.
Yeah, your wife woke up and then they sort of knocked her out again, didn't they?
No, she didn't.
But anyway, you better introduce.
You're just like jumping right in here.
Yeah, but we'll use that as a guide there. Hang on. Just start from.
My wife didn't really. She was not, as far as I know, she didn't have any contact.
Right.
You know, she was kind of put out when I went through my experience,
Yeah.
and I shook her, and she eventually, came to.
Oh,
and,
right.
but yeah, she doesn't remember any entities or anything like that. She remembers our room being lit up a couple times.
Right.
I remember it being lit up 3 times.
Cool.
Yeah.
3 times. So she
It's a weird week.
was it the same week? Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was 1 week. Then it was kind of all over.
That's kind of weird. Maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't have the right blood type.
I don't know. I became a MUFON field investigator, and I had a weird visit. Yeah. I'm actually talking about it now. I didn't talk about it for a long time because it's, kind of an inconvenient story. Because if you're a UFO investigator, you want to be the eye in the microscope, right? You don't want to be under the microscope.
Yeah.
But I know I had a weird experience. There's a lot of people that have had weird experiences. I'm finding that out now. I mean, the more people I talk to, that it seems that it's an interactive phenomena to a certain extent, and if you start looking into it, it might start looking into you. So beware, or go ahead. It's kind of up to you, I think.
That's how it works.
I see Vern. You can't hear, but from what I'm seeing on my thing here, the volume level's right. Looks all right.
I'm just using my little iPhone headphones, and it has a little microphone in there. But
yeah,
I use that on radio and what have you. It seems to work pretty good. So
yeah, to me, you're clear as the day, and there's no distortion, no clipping. Is it?
Yay, Steve Jobs!
Have we got anyone else that's on the side there that's listening on YouTube? Can you hear it okay? Is there any other problems? I don't know why people don't come on when we announce days before that you're coming on.
Yeah.
So we can. I could turn it up
There
a wee
you
bit,
go.
but I think it will just distort on YouTube. But
I don't think if you turn it up louder, it'll necessarily bring more people into the room either.
It's just I don't want it to be.
If I talk a little louder, more people will like my post.
We did do a check again. I'll just do a check again just to make sure nothing happened. Google have changed the software overnight, though. We did do a check again. I'll just do a check again just to make sure. You guys can talk so we can hear you repeat back.
Hello.
Right, enough. Google have changed the software overnight, though. We did do a check again. I'll just do a check again just to make sure. You guys can talk so we can hear you repeat back.
Hello.
Sounds clear to me. No, it's working well. So enough. Google have changed. It's working good here from what I can see anyway. So we're back.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a round world, huh?
Yeah.
So much for flat Earth.
Yeah.
What time is it for you, Paul?
It's now 7:15. There you go.
Well, it's
7:17.
10:15 here.
Right. So
and you're a day ahead of me.
Yeah.
So you're in Sunday. We're in Saturday still.
So yeah, just talk about you were talking about your alien abduction and your wife. How many years ago did that happen again?
Lord have mercy. It was roughly about almost 4 years ago. It's when I first started as a field investigator for MUFON. You really want me to talk about this stuff, huh, Paul?
Well, no. You can talk. You can talk about. You can jump into the alien agenda topic from there if you want.
Well, apparently the alien agenda for me was I had a visit scheduled for whatever reason that they decided to do that. And it was the last thing I kind of expected. At the time, I had heard a little bit about. The CE5 stuff and sending out a mental thought out to our visitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping to meet some lovely Nordic ladies, or Val Thor would have been cool to have met. It's like I was thinking about the Italian Friends case where there were these interesting guys that sort of hung out, and they would drink wine and talk cosmic stuff. And so I started sending out a mental message out to the cosmos, and I really I'd read quite a few UFO books at that point, but I really wasn't an investigator into it myself. So but I was sending this thought out where I hear a lot of people complaining they don't want to be abducted, and it's this horrible thing, and I want to be abducted. Come and abduct me. I want to meet you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. It's like I don't really want to deal with probing, or I'd prefer that didn't happen. But please, I want to visit. Take me away. And so it actually kind of happened to me. And I really wasn't expecting it to happen. You send that stuff out, and I kind of did it like you would meditate or you would pray, and I was just sending those thoughts out and being kind of deep about it. But I had just closed my first UFO case for MUFON, which was a Mylar balloon.
Aren't they always?
Yeah. This was a Mylar balloon that was out in it was near the Lockheed plant, but it was a Mylar balloon. It wasn't anything really all that interesting, So I had to tell the guy, and he got mad at me on the phone. And no, it was a UFO. It's like, dude, that's a star-shaped Mylar balloon. Here's a picture of you can buy it at this store. And I don't really. I think that as the years have gone by, I've learned to be a little more subtle about that. But that was my first case, and I didn't really have any subtlety. And I told him what he had seen, and I gave him a photograph of where he could buy one for himself if he wanted to get a star-shaped Mylar balloon.
Uh-huh.
So, but all the while, I was still sending out my little thoughts out to ET, whoever that might be. And I didn't really say, well, I don't want to talk to reptilians, I prefer that the mantids didn't get this message. No, I didn't think that. I was just kind of sending it out to the universe. It's like, whoever gets this, I want to meet you.
Yeah.
So it was that week that I had become a field investigator for MUFON, and I was going to sleep. I had recently had a hip surgery, so I put my pillows up kind of high in bed, and I kind of went to sleep in a semi-recumbent position when I would go to bed at night. So I'd gotten comfortable, and I had my pillows behind my back. I was sitting up there, and I was starting to get restful when I started to notice that the crickets in our house were becoming very, very quiet. We had a little cricket problem in our rafters. It could be quite a din at times.
In your rafters?
Yes. In our rafters in our old house.
So it's like you needed a rat up there, probably.
No, it was crickets. I don't think you would hear a rat on the roof.
No. You need a rat to eat the crickets, and then that's it solved.
Well, these guys were living inside of the house, and so maybe that's a good thing that they were there.
Right.
Because they were there. So, but it got very, very quiet. The air seemed to get thicker somehow. And there was a light that started shining in our room. And it wasn't coming from any particular point. It seemed to be emanating from everything, as though the room itself was becoming lit within itself. I'm not sure if it was pervading the house or if they did something to the atoms of the wood and objects in our room, but for whatever reason, our room started lighting up with this blue kind of light. And when I say blue, it wasn't so much the color as the feeling of blue. It was calming. It was a calming, bright light. And I noticed that I couldn't move my feet and I couldn't move my fingers and I couldn't move anything after a little while. It was maybe over the period of 30 seconds to where I went from being able to move my extremities to where I was sort of dead weight. And it was very scary for me because I'm actually a nurse and I've taken care of quite a few quadriplegics over the years. And the last thing I would ever want to be would be a quadriplegic. But suddenly I was rendered with quadriplegia. So I lay there and I wasn't screaming yet. and about by the time I would want to scream, I couldn't scream. The room became dark again. And I could see the corner of near where our television was. There was a corner over to the left side of our room. It started swirling around a little bit. And then it started swirling. It sort of became this swirl, like if you poured some milk into your coffee cup. And it opened up. And you couldn't hear anything in the room. It seemed like the air was very, very thick.
Yeah.
And I kind of went into what I would call a hypnagogic state, where it was between a dream state and between a waking state. It wasn't, I mean, I was not falling asleep. That was the last thing I would want to do. I was horrified. I couldn't move my body. But I was put into this different mind state. And the room became dark, and I saw the wall open up. There was distance that I could see in this hole in our wall.
Right.
It was a hole that was maybe 8 feet around. And you could see distance. Now, in our house, there was a neighbor who lived like maybe 15 feet away from our house. So it's not like a UFO parked next to our room.
No.
It had to have been like an interdimensional
thing. That sounds very paranormal to the story that we were talking about last live stream. We had a guy called Jinso who talked about seeing a shadow man standing right in front of him in a lobby, and his friends saw it too. And then it looks the shadow man was looking at them like it thought that it could see it. They could see him, it or whatever, and it ran down the stairs and went through a doorway. So that was apparently where they were going to go. And so they get up and look at each other and say, "Did you see that?" Yep. We said we better go down there and do our job or whatever. He went down to the storeroom. They had to open the door, of course, because they couldn't pass through it. And they saw this big oval vortex in there, which looked into another world. And it looked like they couldn't actually see. He couldn't actually see anything in it. It was like really pitch black, but he could see outlines of trees and stuff like that. So maybe it's the same sort of thing with the aliens as well, or maybe it was an alien. Same sort of thing, or it could be some new technology where they've sort of got invisibility technology, where some people can still see them. Maybe they got the right chemical mindset in the brain, and it ran through the portal, which is like a stargate into, maybe cross to a planet even, or another place on Earth, like into an underground base or whatever. So you never know. So maybe your experience is related to his experience. It's a shame he's not on, because he could probably talk about it with you. Yeah,
maybe.
But rather than having a UFO come down and merge with the house, maybe it's like this portal that opens up and connects into the other world, and they can bring in as many people as they like, or take as many people as they like into the same portal. But anyway, I'll let you carry on.
Sure.
Yeah, so the person down the side here said, hang on. The person down the side here said he doesn't think they're grey. Now, what colour were these? Let's see. One life man has said, don't think they have grey skin. I think it's green like a reptilian. The grey colour is a suit. Well, that's really possible. So what did you see? Carry on.
Well, I'm just going to tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
We can talk about what I think about it later.
Okay.
I'll just tell you, continue telling you what I experienced and what I saw.
Right.
So I could not move. The wall was open about 7 or 8 feet worth of distance, and I could just see light in the background, and it just seemed like distance.
Mm-hmm.
There was a tall creature that was standing like a humanoid that was standing in the portal, that just stood there like a watcher. And I had 4 gray, your proverbial gray aliens. They're about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, that slid up to my bed. They didn't walk to my bed. They didn't move their legs. They just it was almost like they were on ice skates or something. It was just very smooth. And they came up to where I was. And they connected tubes to my arms and to my legs. It was to my extremities. And they were taking blood, or it felt like energy as well. I felt like they stood there and they took some vital thing from me.
Right.
And but I, when it was happening, I believed it was my blood. That's what I still kind of believe what it was. And I didn't get a calming message. They just stood there with their black, shiny eyes. And the strange thing is that, when I say that I was in a hypnagogic state, I couldn't really see the colors of things. It was black and white. It was like in a dark room now.
Mm-hmm.
There was light coming from the hole on the wall, but our room, it wasn't lit up anymore. It was lit up before this happened. And I was horrified, and I was thinking thoughts at them. I figured at this point, well, it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I guess they could hear me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, what are you doing to me? And stop. And are you, who are you? And what are and there was just nothing coming back. I didn't get any message at all.
Mm-hmm.
They just stared at me, and they took my blood and my energy, I believe is what they were taking as well. It took maybe about 5 minutes altogether, where I was just, time, it could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 15 minutes. I just know that I was struggling within, but I couldn't struggle with my body, that my body, I could not move. The only way I could protest was in my own mind. And at certain points, I was wondering if they could even hear that. Yeah. So I was sort of recumbent there on the bed and not able to do anything to protect myself or to stop what was going on. Anyhow, the tubes disengaged from me, and they I remember them just like pulling away, almost like they were, being reeled back somehow. And the 4 entities that were around my bed, there were 3 on one side, and there was 1 to my right side, that they went backwards. So they slid back out through the wall the same way that they came in. The whole time, the tall guy that was standing there was still standing there. It was like he didn't really move. He was a sentinel. I guess he was watching, or, I don't even know why he was there, because there's nothing I could do about anything. The wall swirled again, and it closed up. The room started lighting up again. It was bright. You still couldn't hear crickets, but the room was glowing again with the glow that it had originally. And when I was finally able to move, I shook my wife, and I kept shaking her, and she was out. It was like shaking a dead person, or somebody that was under, some, anesthesia of some kind. When I finally woke her, she was really, really angry, and I remember that what she said was, "Oh my God, Earl, is this what I have to look forward to? Oh my God, you've gone insane. This whole UFO thing, And I really didn't know what to say. And I screamed when I was able to. I'm still amazed that neighbors didn't come to the door, or that they didn't call the authorities or something. But But anyway, that was the first and only encounter that I've ever had with our little short, gray, black-eyed buddies. You know, they weren't very friendly. They seemed very robotic to me. Now that same week, there was 2 days later, I was asleep and my wife started shaking me. and our room was lit up again, and it was lit from within. There was no light in our room. There was no object that was lighting our room up. It was just lighting by itself, like the molecules of everything had suddenly been hit with photons of their own somehow.
Yeah.
And she was shaking me, and she said, "Earl, you need to tell your little friends to leave us the F." You know, she used the F word. She said, "Leave us the F alone."
Yeah.
You know, I already have insomnia as it is.
Yeah.
That was the second night. 2 nights after that, we both woke up, and again, our room was lit up with light. This time I ran to the window, and I could see that there was light coming from above our house. There, you couldn't hear a helicopter. There was no sound. The crickets were perfectly quiet again. You know,
Right.
which didn't happen very often. So it was a weird week. You know, so you know, here's your caveat emptor. If you're going to become a UFO investigator, you just might get a little visit.
Yeah.
And that's all that's it. You know, there's nothing more to the story. I mean, I don't think there's anything else to remember. I really don't need to be hypnotically regressed, because I remember the whole thing. I was awake for it. You know, it was very strange. It was out of the blue, and I've never experienced anything like that again. But you know, when I hear people's crazy stories, I listen.
Yeah.
I listen. You know, and I might not have if I hadn't gone through that myself.
Yeah.
But I did go through that myself. So when I hear somebody's crazy story about, you know, they have some entity comes and visits them and has a cowl over their head or whatever, or they were levitated into a craft, I know that it's possible, because I never would have believed that this could have happened. I went into find out about UFOs. I thought that it was going to be like, you know, I was going to be hearing stories, and if I was lucky, maybe I would see a cool photograph or something. Had no idea that I would be, you know, become part of the phenomenon.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like disturbing the cosmos. You're in the cosmos. You nudge it a little bit, it might nudge you back.
Of course, you're not the only MUFON investigator to see a alien grey. I'm not sure if you know about your sidekick Chase from MUFON.
Chase Klotsky saw grey in the middle of the field.
She was on an investigation at the time to see a crop circle or UFOs in the sky. You know her story. You want to tell a story, or shall I tell it?
I've heard about it. You can tell it. It's Ryan Sprague wrote about it in his Somewhere in the Skies book.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is where it was published.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she went going to sell the story though. She kept saying that History Channel on Martin Willis' show. They asked her if she would sell the story to him. Or do an episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you not watched the Martin Willis interview?
I don't know. I'm on there on Tuesday, but I didn't hear that one.
I should really post a link to it. It's on Discord somewhere. Let's see.
Sure, I'd like to see that. I'd like to hear that.
Let's see. I'll find it on this thing here. This is what's good on Discord. If you join the Discord group, we've got lots of little nice things in there for people to watch, and we got a collection of people that've actually seen these UFOs and up close, not just lights in the sky, this real stuff. Unfortunately,
lights in the sky are boring, man.
Yeah, I'll just find the link for it. Just loading it now, I think.
I mean, they're not boring if you see them yourself, but I always get pictures of lights in the sky, and it's kind of like, well, yeah, you know, I can't do anything with that. It could be Jupiter or Saturn or spaceship from Zeta Reticuli, you know.
Chase from MUFON. I'll just post a link in the side now for anyone that wants to look at it.
Well, Chase is the director of investigations for MUFON.
Yeah.
So I actually, you know, I kind of go by what she, you know, has us doing as far as our investigations.
You obviously do monthly meetings with her. How do you do that? Do it over Skype or something?
You know, Chase is cool. She's kind of hands off mostly. She lets us do it the way that we do it ourselves. You know, everybody has their own style at MUFON. You kind of have to find your own style as far as your investigations of UFOs go and our visitors go. We have certain precepts that were set by both J. Allen Hynek as well as Jacques Vallée.
Yeah,
we use you know, Hynek's you know, CE 1, 2, 3 classifications. We use Jacques Vallée's classifications as far as you know, whether a UFO affected you psychologically, or if a UFO was you know, just seen line of sight, or you know, we definitely go by. We stand on the shoulders of giants, more or less, and that's the way that you're supposed to do it. You know, I mean, you have to remember that MUFON's creed is the scientific investigation of UFOs for, you know, the benefit of humanity, and I think that, you know, there is a benefit for humanity beyond just things like finding out about 0-point energy or whatever might make technology better for us. That I think that finding out about our visitors and taking them into our taking the visits that people experience and the way that affects people and the way it affects you personally is sort of furthering human evolution, I think. I think that if anything, the alien agenda may be to bring us to a different level where perhaps we are closer to their level. I think that they're further evolved than we are. They've been around a long time. Now, they may have lost some of the things that we hold dear, that we consider humanity, and maybe they're trying to get some of those things back. I hear from a lot of people that in their encounters with our extraterrestrials, that the ETs are still surprised by our emotions and by love, or even by hatred, you know, by our strong emotions. That perhaps that's something that they gave up in order to live longer and to be able to travel the cosmos and do the things that they do. But you know, I think that what's happening on Earth is probably actually an exchange of things. That they want something from us, and I think that we probably want some things from them as well. You know, and hopefully it'll work out. And hopefully there's not you know, it's not Independence Day at any point, right? You know.
So did you actually believe in UFOs, or were you before you started MUFON and all this experience, or were you just interested?
You know, I was interested. All my life I've been obsessed with extraterrestrials and extraterrestrial life. The earliest memories I have are of, you know, drawing control panels on, you know, with crayons and taping them to my wall so I could play spaceship. You know, I mean, that's, you know, 4 years old. Or, you know, I remember, you know, my dad built a wooden swing set in our backyard that had monkey bars, and there was some wood that was left over, and I hammered some of that wood together into a little rocket ship, and I did my best to paint little controls on that, and I begged my dad to carry that up to the top of the swing set. And I mean, the memory is so sharp in my mind. I remember my mom looking at me through the kitchen window going, "Earl, who are you waving at? Who are you talking to out there?" And I said, "Oh, the space people, Mom. You know, I'm waving at the space people." So apparently this has been a thing. It's been, it's kind of always been there and something I've been interested in. No matter where I was in my life, I had a little period in my life where I was, I started reading the Bible and I became very religious. But what books were my favorite books? It was C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, for goodness sake. I was obsessed with the Space Trilogy. So it's always been there, no matter what, permutations I put myself through. It's always been there. What led me to become a UFO investigator myself was really I noticed that I was getting a little older.
It's a bugger, isn't
it? If I was going to do it, I had better do it.
Yeah.
And I saw a Hainer One show on TV, and I started watching it, and I started. And I'd been reading books about the phenomena. I'd read, I'd read Valet. I know I had read Chariots of the Gods when I was a kid. I remember reading some of the contactee stuff that was popular back in the late 50s out in the Joshua Tree area.
Yep.
Some of the stuff that came from that. But, I know my mom's story, Paul.
Yep.
I was kind of raised with some of the knowledge that we weren't alone.
Yep.
Because my mom knew that in her work with Hughes aircraft back in the 1950s.
Yeah. I just posted
So I did know that
on the side. Hang on. For newcomers here, that probably haven't heard your
hello,
mum.
newcomers.
I don't
So
want to
I knew there was something
Yeah.
there. I knew there was something there. And I guess that I really just felt like it was the time for me to start investigating it for myself. I'd read everything that I could read about it, and I wasn't satisfied. I didn't know if it was a real thing yet. I did not have any personal experiences with it. I just had other people's stories. So I guess that was the defining factor for myself, is that I wanted to know personally. And I feel like I do know. I mean, it's a very real phenomena. I mean, it's not just a made up thing. People are seeing UFOs or being visited. I believe it's been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah. I'm just multitasking here at the moment. I'm not sure if there's any questions anyone wants to ask you, but probably I'll sum up Chase's story of seeing an alien grace. So to me, when you hear all these credible people out there that's seen things for real, it kind of adds up that it must be actually a real thing that's happening and not people's wacky, tinfoil head stuff happening. So basically, she got this UFO MUFON case. I'm not sure what the number was, but this guy was talking to a farmer, I think it was talking about seeing these UFOs in the sky and leaving crop circles. So she went out there to investigate, and she had all the technology with her. And they were walking out to the middle of one of these crop circles or fields, or I suppose it was corn or something like that. And suddenly they look up and see a TR-3B heading towards them. A mothership, I suppose, very big. And her camera stopped working. All the batteries died, she said, and she couldn't film it. And
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's an EMP. It'll drain your phone.
But then maybe they sent out that on purpose to make sure no one was filming it as it was coming close to them.
Yeah, it's feasible, deniability.
Anyway, I think
visitors want that.
I think she said to the other guys, "Well, we'll head back to the car, get another camera or something like that." I'm not sure exactly what happened, but they all got scared of this thing approaching them, and so they were running through the cornfield, and suddenly the guy in front stopped, and she slammed into the back of him. And there is a alien grace standing right in front of him in the field. And of course, the smoking gun evidence of all time, and none of her cameras is working. It's not like you see on these TV shows where they got headsets on and it's filming everything as they're doing it. So unfortunately, all that evidence was lost, which would have been the best ever. She would have sold that for millions, or MUFON would have been millionaires, I'd say, with that footage.
Oh, yeah.
And
you don't think of reaching for your phone, though, when you see something. that's and that is a part of the phenomenon.
Yeah.
I believe that. Well, now you have to think that we have animal sanctuaries where we go and we tranquilize certain beasts, and we try to keep them healthy, and we do our our stuff there, and we want them to live as though it's their natural habitat, right? We don't want them to think that we're coming down in helicopters or jeeps or whatever it is, tranquilizing them, doing medical procedures, and then leaving them. We just want them to forget about that. We want to see what animals act like in their natural habitat. So I imagine that our visitors are kind of doing the same thing with us. They're, for whatever reason, they're interested with humanity. They're interested in our society. They're interested in our emotions and how we deal with each other. And they don't want us to be obsessed like you and I are about them. We're the odd people out because we do think about this a lot.
Yes.
But I don't think that that's really the reaction that they want.
Yeah.
They want to see how we react, in our natural habitat.
Okay.
And if we know that we're being tranquilized and having procedures done on us and elsewhere, it kind of ruins the whole effect of the matter, So you got to figure that must be that's the way I think about it anyway. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I tell myself.
So I'll just go through some of the side chatters here. See what we got here. I shake my wife too. Doesn't do any good.
Nah, it doesn't. If they're out, they're out. But next time I was out, and she was shaking me, and I was kind of useless in that situation.
Okay, next one is crazy stories could be true, but selling the truth is like teaching math to a flat earther.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
When you start.
I mean, I don't really have anything to prove. The only reason why I told you guys is because Paul asked me to tell you my story. And if I said that it didn't happen, I would be a liar.
Yeah.
For a long time, I didn't talk about it, and I had told my state director about it, and I told Peter Robbins about it. Those were the two people that knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anybody about my story until maybe a year ago, and I started hinting to Paul about it. I started hinting to a couple other friends about it. But now I work for the experiencer research team at MUFON, and I hear a lot of stories that are similar to my own, and some of them are more outlandish. I mean, there's some crazy stories.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that our visitors use screen memories. They use things to make people feel more comfortable or less comfortable sometimes.
Yep.
I think there's some people that are too comfortable with their visits, and so they try to make it less comfortable.
Yep.
I only have stuff to lose here to telling my crazy story.
Your daytime job.
I know my state director hates me talking about the story. He hates it,
I love it. I love your story.
I can tell you UFO stories till the sun comes down because I've closed 400 of them so far.
Really?
Really? But this is my own story, and that's what Paul wanted me to tell you guys. So that's the only reason why I brought it.
That's another reason why people don't tell the stories that they experience, because they got a daytime job and they think they're crazy and they could lose their position, especially if they're in a police job or a government job where they're meant to be of sound mind. Obviously they an FBI. Imagine FBI people getting abducted and they can't tell the story because because it'll affect their position.
If you work for Homeland Security or something like that, you can't tell your story with your name or your face with it. You simply can't.
No.
It could destroy your career.
Okay, we'll just go
with me. I feel pretty comfortable in my career, and everybody knows I'm a really good nurse, and my friends love me, and so people know that I'm not apt to have psychological breakdowns of any sort. So that's why I feel comfortable telling you guys that.
Or you can just deny it and say, well, I'll just tell them the story, and then people don't know if it's true or not. Well, you could
Yeah, I
say
took LSD,
it could have been
and
you could say it could have been a dream, but it's
yeah.
it's an interesting
But
story.
I mean, I wasn't on any psychotropic drug. I wasn't drinking too much. I think I might have had a beer that night.
Yeah.
That was probably about it. It was just a normal night, like any night.
Yeah.
There was nothing out of the ordinary about it.
No.
I closed a UFO case that was a Mylar balloon sighting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what type of balloon was it?
It was a star-shaped Mylar balloon.
Okay.
Like a gold-shaped, gold-colored star-shaped party balloon.
Should we look up that old
case?
Paul,
probably. I could find it for you if you really want. But I'm probably gonna have to rejoin you on my iPad because I'm noticing that my phone is getting kind of low on charge here. So you might want to talk about
okay.
else
You can just drop off there and just click the camera icon and you'll be straight on again.
Okay, cool. I think this is a good point probably for me to go because I got 3% charge.
Yeah.
We started at like 60% charge. I don't know why my phone,
Wi-Fi takes a lot of power, I think.
I guess so. All right. I'll be right back with you.
Okay. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, who we got on? Only got you here, John? Are you enjoying the show so far?
There's 5 watching. You've got 14 likes.
Yeah, I know it's going crazy. People are coming and going, maybe, or some troll counts liking it for us. But yeah, it's pretty interesting so far, isn't it? We're getting some more answers that we didn't have here before on other live streams. He was reluctant to tell the story initially, as he said, and yeah, he's opening up a wee bit more now. According to this, is 7 watching, and on the main channel, it only just updated. It said 9. I think it says 9 over there. So it's going up and down between 4 watching to 9 watching. So Earl will be with us in a minute again, while he changes devices with power. It's almost like I would just wonder if now he's on, maybe they're sucking his batteries dry as well. If it's paranormal, in a sense, it could affect the batteries and the devices. That's why I'm always hardwired here. I'm always on power, and I'm always on a non-Wi-Fi system where I've got a cable going straight to everything, so nothing can be interfered wirelessly anyway. Radio frequency. So we got who we got in the chat here? We got Renee with us. Who else is out there? One Life Man still with us. Who else we got? Vern, you should be on Voice Man. This is your day. This is your day to talk to a real MUFON investigator who's had some crazy experiences like these guys. So get on there. He doesn't often come on because he's a busy guy. Philip Snyder was a military war hero, but wasn't he a wee bit of a whack job, that one? That's the one that hung himself with so-called rubber pipes, which was kind of strange because he only had 3 fingers on one hand, and I think he had an arm missing, didn't he, as well? Did he have an arm missing? I can't remember.
It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, Phil Snyder, you know the one I'm talking about. Talked about underground bases that they were building underground out in the desert there with a special drill bits that used like a fusion reactor or something like that that sort of melted the rock.
That was Dulce.
Yeah, and then they naturally broke into a underground cave, and alien war started out where they're starting to shoot at each other. Have we got Earl back on with us here? I heard something. So. I thought I heard something. Oh yeah, here he is. I'll just switch it back to him.
There you go. Yeah,
he was on. Hello, are you there? We're getting a picture now, are we? No.
Hold on, I'm having trouble here. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. You got icon up and voice, but no video. You click the video button here.
Hold on, let me see what's going on with the video.
Yes,
it should be up.
We're getting a blank screen here, gray screen.
Hold on. Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
I think you
hold
got the wrong camera. You got to switch cameras.
on. Hold on.
You got the front. You got the back camera, not the front camera.
All right, hold on. I'm going around.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
So for your vertical
Hi.
go. Is that always portrait? Let's see. Does it fit on?
Hello there.
Oh, that'll do. That'll be all right. Just keep it like that.
Good.
So where were we? We were talking about Phil Snyder because Renee brought his name up. So, do you know Phil Snyder?
Yeah, I know the story. I don't know him. He's gone now. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah, that's right. He apparently committed suicide.
Story. You're talking about the Dulce thing, right?
Yeah.
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 I don't know what I don't know enough. I honestly don't know how I feel about that story. I've heard it. I think it's an interesting story. It could be real.
Yeah.
It could very well be real, but I've heard pros and cons on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to admit the guy was hurt by something. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He had some damage done to himself.
Yeah.
Alien ray gun or something. I don't know.
The thing that got me was his suicide. It's kind of strange suicide. He hung himself with a tube or something, and
it was filled with a catheter.
Yeah, which is a really strange thing, to do. And he only had like three fingers on one hand or something.
I don't know if I know about that. Well, I know that he lost fingers, and I know that he had been hurt in his abdomen as well. Correct?
Yeah.
He said that he was shot by an alien ray gun, more or less.
Oh, you're breaking up a bit there, or you're turning robotic for some reason.
Uh-oh. Are we okay now?
Yeah.
Hello?
It couldn't be Paul's laptop doing that.
I don't think so. It's all good here. We're sitting at 75.
Sure.
We're sitting at 75 CPU at the moment, which is good. Yes.
I can see myself.
I think you're a wee bit louder too for some reason.
The same as it usually is.
I think you're a wee bit louder, but it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, whereabouts were we? Sort of lost our way. What was the last thing you're talking about?
I just kind of talked about my own experience and this.
Yeah.
That now in my life, the last 4 years of my life, where I've just thrown myself at the phenomenon, and really every waking moment, I'm always thinking about it, and I'm always trying to figure out
what it's all about,
what the phenomenon means to us.
Yeah.
That I experience beautiful synchronicities in my life that are like magic. I mean, I'll be thinking about something, or I'll have a case that has to do with some crazy. I'm trying to think of an example, but a synchronicity. Carl Jung, the way that he described synchronicity was that it's a meaningful coincidence, and the meaningful coincidence that he always brought up was that he was having a session with a woman, as he was a psychologist, where she was talking about this dream that she had of a scarab beetle, and that it had these, sort of iridescent wings on it, and that she saw this beetle that was walking on the table. And while she was telling her story to him, he was hearing this strange battering at the window, and it was like bam, 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 and it was interrupting their session. So he excused himself. He opened up the window, and a scarab beetle flew into the room, and it landed on the table. Now that's a meaningful coincidence, and that's a synchronicity.
Yeah.
And I experienced that in my life, and I believe, before I was engaging with a phenomena, I didn't experience synchronicities like that. I once in a while I would have something, that I couldn't understand that would happen in my life, but it wasn't like a train or a pattern of those instances of synchronicities, and they happen now. They happen every single day. It's to the point where, you know, it's not common to where I just like, oh, you know, another miracle.
Yeah.
But you know, it's definitely a thing, and I think that that's from the phenomenon as well. So I don't think that it's a malevolent phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody told me this once, they said that if you take your pet to the veterinarian to have shots or a surgery or whatever, your dog or your cat is gonna they hate the vet. You know, it's like this horror show to them.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. It just seems like this is something that's helping them. So maybe we just don't understand. You know, maybe it's just beyond our conception to understand what they are doing with us and to us and with us.
Right.
You know, and I think about that a lot.
Hmm. So, is there any crazy stories you've heard while doing abductee cases that you can tell?
Well, I hear them all the time, and you know, I'm always getting good cases. You know, I sort of had a proverbial one the other day where, you know, a woman, when she was 4 years old, she was playing with a little spider on her screen window, and her grandfather was asleep, you know, next to her. She was staying with her grandma and her grandpa, and she was kind of sleeping in their room, and she saw a full-on flying saucer. She said that the bottom of it was pitch black, and it had red and blue lights that were running around the sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time that she had an experience. Later on, she and her sister, they were looking out the window. It was a couple of years later. So they were still very young, but this time there was a second witness. And they saw an object in the sky, and it got brighter and brighter. And then their room flooded with light, and there was missing time. And the two sisters remember this. And it happened back in 1964, for goodness sake. You know, it was a long, long time
Before
ago.
my time.
But yeah, you know. Well, I was young too. I was born in 1958, so I was 6 years old at the time. I think she was about the same age as myself. That was a good story, and this woman, again, you know, it's like when you have that encounter, it grabs you, and you have that interest the rest of your life. And she, you know, here she is. She's kind of my age, and she's just trying to make sense of it. You know, I hear stories like that every single day. I talk with people who think that it's the most horrible thing in the world what's happening to them, and they wish they could make it stop.
Right.
I've talked with people who wish that they could strangle their aliens or shoot their aliens, you know. And then I talk with people where it's their angels, and they feel like, you know, how could I live without my visitors, and that it's this meaningful thing. So, I don't know. I still don't understand the phenomenon completely myself. I feel like different things are going on. I don't think that it's all just one thing. I think people are having different experiences, that we have different visitors, and different people are having different experiences for whatever reason.
Well, I was hoping Vern was going to come on and tell his strange story, but apparently he was being chased by this cop because he was speeding down the highway, and suddenly this light come from the sky, and it shined a light onto the car, and it stopped dead. The cop car just stopped dead. And he was seeing this in his rear view mirror, and he kept on going. So he said it's almost like the aliens are sort of protecting him for some reason. And yeah, really.
I wish they'd do that for me. I got a ticket a couple of months ago.
Did you? So you have to go to a driving school and all that over there, don't you? And you lose a strike on your license and all sorts of crazy stuff over there.
I did traffic school.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it just, you know, it's a dent in your insurance if you don't do that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to do it. But
may I ask how much you are speeding by?
It was like, how much I wasn't speeding that much at all, but apparently it's a dangerous corner. Now I know it's a dangerous corner. I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, right.
I think it was only like 6 or 7 miles above the speed limit, but
right.
There was a crosswalk, and the guy stopped me. They actually had a crossing guard that was killed there.
Right.
That was hit by a car. So that's why they watch that.
Yeah.
That intersection.
I thought you were going to say.
But, everybody gets tickets. If you drive, you're eventually going to get.
That wasn't where that plane crashed a few months back, was it? World War II German plane crashed there, wasn't it, on that same highway?
Oh, no.
No.
LA is sprawling. If you ever come here, people think of Los Angeles as a city, but it's like a state in itself. I mean, you're talking, Los Angeles County it's got to be like 200 square miles probably.
Yeah.
From the southern coast to, central California, it's sprawling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you have to, you kind of have to drive here, or else you have to have aliens that take you, places.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just kidding.
Well, we need the technology, don't we, so we can get rid of the cars.
Yeah. Well, Star Trek would work pretty good. Transporter room would be a good thing to have.
Well, yeah. We need to get humans off one planet. Maybe that's probably part of the agenda.
I'm all for that.
I wonder if the sort of how many people go missing every year. It's almost like there could be an agenda where they're sort of putting people on another planet to start building.
What if they are?
Yeah.
I've thought about that before. What if they are populating another planet?
It's possible.
Maybe they are. That's kind of how Australia started, right?
Right. So they might know there's a big asteroid heading towards us, and it's going to be there in another 100 years or whatever, And they can't.
Well, I'm sure that if they can get here, they can probably divert an asteroid. I don't think that there's
possible.
It would have to be something like if our sun was going to go nova or something like that.
Yeah, I was just making a theoretical idea up there, though. Yeah, they might know when a star explodes. Say,
yeah, we don't really understand that. We think we do.
Yeah,
but we're surprised all the time in astronomy, seeing a star will suddenly start becoming unstable. So we don't know. I mean, I honest to God, I don't think that it's a malevolent thing that we're being visited, because they've been here a long time, and while I have a horror story of my own, that's just my own conception of it. It's very subjective as far as my feelings about it. I mean, to me, it was really scary, but honestly, I mean, nobody really gave me a written guarantee that I was going to get a calming message if I, if aliens came and if they wanted to take my DNA and blood or whatever, it's. How do I know that that's a bad thing? Maybe they need to give me transfusions at some point, at some point. I don't know.
I suppose if you believe in a soul, right, and the body quits after 100 years or less, if you're lucky to live for 100 years, that they could use your DNA to create a clone of your body where your soul transfers back into it. Because I've heard the stories of people cloning.
I don't know.
I don't know. We're just talking agendas here, but obviously they've cloned dogs, and people said the dogs, cloned their dogs after they died, and they say the dog has the same personality exactly like the dog that used to be that DNA.
Wow.
So maybe there's a connection there. Yeah. So we've probably got a lot to experiment with there, but also
maybe.
Yeah, what else was I going to say? How long do you think the aliens have been on Earth? Yeah, John was going to say something.
I was trying to hear.
Yes, carry on, John.
Yeah, they've been here for millennia.
Well, where's the proof?
Well, here in Arizona alone, around Phoenix, you look at the what's that? Oh, I get to figure out what that sound was.
Yeah.
But the peoples that used to inhabit this region, 10,000 years ago, they've got all kinds of stuff that they've put on the rocks that show the aliens and their craft and portals and all kinds of crap. 10,000 years ago.
But from what I've read online with Dr. Jacobs, really he reckons that abductions really only started in the 1960s with Betty and Barney Hill being the first one, from what I understood from stuff I read that he posted about. So, but have you heard of it?
There's alien abductions in the Bible.
Oh,
I mean, there's abductions in the Bible where, St. Paul was taken up in what was it? I think in the first chapter or second chapter of Acts in the New Testament, where he was taken up into heaven and given a vision, but he was taken into the sky, and there's a million stories in antiquity where people are taken up in chariots. It's not a new thing. People have been abducted through millennia, I think, as well. I don't think it's anything new. I think that there's that meme out there where 1947 we blew up the atomic bomb, and we suddenly garnered their attention, and boom, there they were.
Yeah.
I don't think that's correct. I think that they've been here a long time. I think if you look in Sanskrit, in Indian, for the stories from India 5,000 years ago, they talk about these creatures coming down from the sky, and Vyama they called them, and these elaborate flying machines. And it even talks about a nuclear war between two different bases of two different sects of beings, right?
Yeah.
And they've checked the soil in those areas, and there's radioactive isotopes.
I've actually debunked that.
You have? Well,
yeah. I
know people that lived there for their entire lives, and I know that during the Second World War, Germans were actually coming over. They were on assignment to find out about it. So I don't know. I don't know if you've actually debunked it, Paul. Maybe you did.
Well, some expert debunked it. It was a made-up story, apparently, but he's tracked it back in the ancient books and said the story originates from one source. So and the radiation is no higher than background radiation, apparently. And I can't remember what episode it was on, but I did cover it. Indian something, or I called it, or something like that.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to talk with the people I work for at work. I work for an Indian family, and they were from that region, and they say that it's a thing. So I don't know. I don't live there, but
you got to remember, it can be,
and it's in Sanskrit. The stories themselves.
Apparently,
you can read them if you want.
Yeah, apparently, it's the way you interpret it, apparently, but
well, sure, it's like Ezekiel's wheel. It's the same thing.
What's happening here?
Yeah,
apparently it's nuclear has a half-life, and if it happened, then you got to work it on half-life of stuff. Now, what's happened here? Cancel. Okay, I was trying to find India. Did it search India ones here? Nope. Hang on. India. That's right, isn't it? Let me just zoom in. I think it was called India or something like that. It's India. Atomic bombs.
It is maybe. India.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. But you've seen some of my stuff that I do. You ain't got time to watch it. Obviously, everybody complains that they're too long and there's lots of information on them. And but I did. I remember that one I did here.
People don't like information anymore,
That's why it's
unfortunate.
That's why you don't need to fake anything, because it's just so much information out there that you can talk about, and theories, and you can just talk about it, and just get over with.
But let's talk about Australia. I mean, I've been there, and I've looked at paintings and petroglyphs that are 40,000 years old that they have. You know, they talk about lightning man who came down from the sky and brought agriculture and civilization to them.
Yeah.
And you know, that's definitely a thing. There's every single culture seems to have the same story. What do you make of that?
Red Indians?
You know, is it a coincidence?
Oh, I mean, Native Indians in America?
Yeah, Native Americans, it's the same thing. It's the sky people. It's in every single culture, they have the stories about people coming down from the sky, bringing them fire, bringing them language, bringing them civilization. And, you know, where does that come from? You know, I don't know that that's a coincidence. I think that that's a thing.
Yeah,
you know?
let me see if I could.
It would be a coincidence if you found it maybe in, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 cultures. But when you look at every single culture on Earth, and they all have sky people coming down from the heavens that bring them civilization, you have to figure that there must be something to that.
What?
That's the way I take it anyway.
What's it? Vermanas? Not sure that's how you spell it.
Vimana. Yeah, there you go.
Vimana.
I always say that word wrong.
Yeah. These things here.
There you go.
Flying temples.
Yeah. That's where they all say that their temples came from. They were copying what they were seeing. It's you know, a proverbial cargo cult. There's cults that were in New Guinea and elsewhere where they saw airplanes flying over, and sometimes stuff would fall out of the airplanes, and so they thought of those as gifts from the gods, and they started building straw airplanes that they would give offerings to and, you know, dance in front of, and hoping that they get more gifts from the sky.
Oh, here it is.
Right?
Here's the episode I did on it.
It's a pattern.
It was a Sunday episode too. Vimanas, rods, etc. So
that's the most popular Indian airline is Vimana Airlines, by the way. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna vape on this show. We're like
yeah, you're right.
Unscripted here, so
yeah,
you got to watch me vape. And
I'm not too sure. Google always changing the rules. I haven't got money anyway, so but they'll probably end up deleting my channel and by the end of the year anyway, just like all UFO channels. Well, that's the way it's heading by the sounds of it. They want to get rid of all conspiracies, and just talking about UFOs, conspiracies. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did the episode there. I just posted it on the side there called Bananas. I've got expert breaks it all down for you, saying that it's been misinterpreted. So I can't remember all the details because it was actually quite a lot of information in the episode. But
well, I don't know about how people interpret it, but I know that that the family I work for, it's first generation from that's ever been in America, that they grew up in India, and this is what they were taught, is that these vehicles came down from the sky and that there were sky gods, that they brought civilization to Earth, and they considered them gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
but their conception of a god is different than the Western conception of a god.
Yeah.
It's not so much almighty as it is mightier than we are.
Yes. Well, if there's these portal things, right? Remember this 1561 case. Let's see if I can bring up a picture. If it's going to load. Google's playing up. I think it was at the beginning. I debunked that one too, with the help of there.
My goodness, you're such a debunker, dude.
Oh no!
You have to join MUFON. I'll give you all of my drone cases. Yeah, you have my drones, my balloons, and my Chinese lanterns.
It looks like it's not going to load. Hang on. It doesn't like.
You like those?
It doesn't. Doesn't like. No, I don't actually. But
I hate it when I open up a case and I look at the video and right off I see like a little drone. You know, it's like
let's see if I can type it in. The famous German. It was in Germany, 1951 UFO case 1561, I think it was. This one here. You remember this one?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Well, apparently they reckon it is a depiction of sundogs, right? Which you get.
I've seen sundogs. That's just you get a sundog on you get one on each side of the sun. It's not a whole bunch of them, and they aren't cross shaped and
Yes, they are.
or multiple sundogs.
They've got some ancient...
I see sundogs all the time. I actually had an album called Sundogs that I put out years ago.
Yeah.
As a musician, that was the title of a record. A sundog is a reflection of the sun, and you have one on each side. It's not multiple.
Yeah. Well, projections of the sun. They used to do what you call they used to carve it in wood and then press it onto paper back then. They didn't have presses or computers like we have today. So they reckon the guy took liberty with the etch and added his own stuff into it. But there's a picture of a sundog mixed in between together with others stood two big tubes. So, there's a lot of analysis done here. But I did come across a debunker that's actually found a lot of wood. But yeah. So in that episode,
well, I've seen sundogs plenty of times, and that picture doesn't look anything like a sundog. Right. A sundog, you have one on each side of the sun, and that's a sundog.
Yeah.
You see them in pairs.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to.
It doesn't look like that.
You just have to watch my episode, I think. I can't remember all the.
It doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you.
You might do time you watched it all and go through all the different steps. Or I break it down and go through all the different steps.
I know. Well, I know you're good. You're good, Paul. I respect your work.
But yeah, I just wonder.
I don't always agree with you.
So
I don't always agree with anybody.
Yeah.
And I change my own mind sometimes. So.
Yeah, true.
So I don't know. I'm not going to go on too much longer, Paul, because I think I'm keeping my wife up, and it's about 11:30. So I've been on here for about an hour and a half.
Well, last time you lasted to 3 a.m. You were going like.
But I'm
thought...
making my wife mad here. So.
Can't you tell that?
I love you. I'm here with you.
Tell the aliens that they can take her for a trip and bring her back.
I don't think she would want that. No.
Well,
she said. Well, she said you can tell your little friends.
I don't know.
She already went there.
If they were nice and
that was her words.
Yeah, but if they were nice and let her have a look out the window and have a look at the solar system, I kind of like a trip like that. Yeah.
Well, apparently Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead got abducted and was taken on a little trip, is what I've heard from his widow, Menasha Garcia, talks about it. And I know his old roommates, his old private assistants that used to live with him, and he was apparently gone for 3 days, and he then suddenly showed up again, and he said that Mantis aliens had taken him on a tour of the cosmos.
Mantis.
And that it was the best time that he had ever had. And that he was just so sad that they brought him back. And, it was Jerry Garcia. He might have gotten a hold of some good LSD, as far as I know. There you go. Those are the guys. They did not eat his head in the process. That's a good thing. Yeah. Rock stars and aliens, that's a thing too. Okay. John Lennon saw a UFO. Chris Squire of Yes was hovered over by a UFO. He told me at length about it personally. Jerry Garcia apparently believed that he had been abducted for 3 days by Mantis aliens. They were huge, he said.
Well, that one's got.
They were a little scary looking.
That one looks like it's got a screw neck. A little screw up. These are actually drawings by abductees.
I like praying mantises too. They're kind of cool looking bugs,
Oh, look at that one.
Oh, I like that picture. That's spooky, though.
Yeah, he's going to stick it into his ear or back of his neck.
Yeah, that's not necessarily good.
No.
Well, you see, I think that sometimes they make us forget stuff on purpose, you know?
Yeah, who did that one?
Might be a kindness.
Praying
Oh, wow.
Mantis. Oh, that's a good one. Someone's a real good artist.
I've never seen those guys.
So they have actually got long necks.
I've seen the little short guys.
So we just seen 2 images done by abductees, and they actually got long necks. So there you go.
Yeah.
And what we thought was a screw is
cool
actually
picture,
looks like some sort of outer body scales, maybe. Mind you, if you get abducted
really
by
cool.
that, you'd shit your pants, wouldn't you? Come on. Oh, sorry about the language, but yeah, you'd be.
You're breaking your rules.
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah. We do.
You said shit.
Yeah, we try.
Well, yeah, that would definitely, you would soil your shorts. I would soil mine, but apparently, though, they're like the philosopher kings. That's what I've heard. That the mantids, apparently, you know, a mind link with them is this wonderful thing that
yeah,
you know, that they're very philosophical and kind and yeah. But there you go. I can't tell you that.
Well, I don't think if they tried to come into my house, my dog Charlie Roo would be really forgiven of them. I could understand why dogs would be trying to attack them, and why they don't like. They probably don't like pets, you know, or dogs at least. Is that a dog he's holding there? He's fried up there. A dog, someone's pet owner.
You know, there's a good science fiction novel about dogs. You should read City by Clifford Simic.
Yeah, you reckon I got time to read?
Humanity dies out.
Yeah.
Humanity dies out and the dogs take over. The dogs become intelligent. I think that we might have uplifted them a bit.
Right.
And then we die out. And they sort of look back at us as their gods. You know, and they build statues to humans and stuff, but it's a doggy world.
Yeah.
This is kind of a cool book. I think you'd enjoy it. It has robots in it too, Paul.
That one looks like something you would paint, you know, a mantis.
Ooh, I like that one too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I've never seen one personally. I can't tell you what they look like.
Mm.
The little grays look like David Chase's drawings. He's pretty good.
Oh, do you know who they're from? These ones here.
Yeah, that's Corey Good's little
thing. The chicken aliens.
No comment.
Has anyone actually anyone else? Well, you know, so he's a bit fake, but do you know?
I've never heard anybody that has ever seen one other than him that I've talked with anyway.
Which kind of makes it a fabricated story, doesn't it? So.
Well, and I don't know. I think that Corey Good's story is pretty dubious, but you know. He might think mine was dubious too, so I don't know.
Well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we don't care for Corey's story that much. No. I know that we're sort of in that group here, and I really don't. But
there you go.
That's a kind of an interesting picture there. I like that.
Yeah, but
he's got the wraparound eyes.
Yeah, but I think
you can see a lot.
I thought they had like 6 limbs, though. From what I heard.
I don't know. You hear different things from different people, you know, and there's probably variations on the theme. But, you know, I mean, he would do pretty well in a 360-degree movie theater. They used to have one at Disneyland, you know.
Right. And
he would really enjoy that.
So what color do you think they are? So you reckon gray might be suits? Because that's one of the questions asked down the side there.
I sometimes think that maybe they're, well, you know, that you hear a lot of stories in this field, and you have to sort of give them a grain of salt with there's a lot of stories out there, but the one that you hear is that when they actually did do an autopsy on the little gray guys, that they were very that their organs were not like ours, that they were sort of built for short term. They say that they didn't have an alimentary system where they could eat or excrete. That it was kind of thrown together in a temporary package. So maybe they're avatars. Maybe there's a space station out there somewhere where somebody from another star system can order up a little gray spacesuit body, and they transplant you in there, and you go to Earth for your vacation, or whatever it is that you're doing.
That one's pretty good. I'll just zoom into that one.
Oh my!
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would scare me. I don't really want to meet him. He
Yeah.
looks a little more like Cthulhu or something. I'm comfortable with.
That one's got a long head.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. They look all similar though, you know. Oh, look at that one. That looks like Peter Cushing from Star Wars with the sucked-in cheeks.
He's not very happy.
No.
It's like somebody buy that man a drink.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that's it for those collections. Oh, look at that one. Spacesuit.
Wow. You have to give me a link to whatever it is that you're. What is
all right, I'll
website?
post it down the side. It's just Google Images actually. I'm just going through them all. Just scrolling.
Oh, okay.
Just scrolling
You're
down.
still looking at the Mantis stuff.
Yeah. So when you watch the stream back, the links will be there. Images, Grey. Well, Mantis.
All right, cool.
I did a search on Mantis.
Yeah.
So Mantis alien.
Well, Paul, I'm probably going to have to get going here pretty quick, my friend, because I'm out of charge, and that's kind of, I don't have any. We already used my phone.
Oh, that's right. Won't let me. Yeah, that's all right. If you have to go, you have to go. You know, it's all good.
Well, I don't have to, but my iPad and my phone are out of charge. So. But
well, you know, you could talk for hours on this stuff. You know, we've done it before, so.
Yeah, we have done it. Well, we'll do it again.
Yeah.
You know? I'll be back on soon. So.
Okay. Did he go? Or is he still there?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, right. I thought you dropped off. That's because John.
No. I was just giving you a little warning there.
Yeah. Cool. Oh well, it's good to have you on. Then we lasted an hour and a half.
It was great being on with you. It was good being back in out there land. I enjoy hanging out with you, Paul.
Yeah.
And,
but you need to join our Discord group. So
yeah,
we can.
My hair is like crazy. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, last time you had it all nice.
You
had it all nicely fluffed out, and you look like you look like the wizard from Lord of the Rings. You know, with the hair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not tonight.
Not tonight.
All right, you guys have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and don't get.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, don't get abducted by those nasty greys.
No.
And thank you, Lisa.
Take care, my friends.
And thank you, Lisa,
Bye
for
now.
letting us have Elle on. Thank you. Bye. And that brings you back to John. John the man. So you look a bit less scruffy. No, he's covering up. He's running away. So yeah, did that post go, or is it still hanging there? Still hanging there. So what rubbish has that got in the link here? I was just going to try and paste it. Why do they make these links so crazy long? I don't know. It should be like a cut and paste link so you can share it. I think there's a lot of rubbish on the end here. Let's see. Go back.
God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Aliens. Well, actually, I spelled it wrong, but I'll leave it with the misspellings because it might change the search. I wonder if it'll work if I click on it. Let's see. Open, and then I can't. Copy link, paste it into a new tab. Yeah, that's quite good. Good chat there. Had plenty more to ask him, of course. Unfortunately, he had to go. But if we can get him on a Thursday, looks like it's not working. What did I do wrong? Search Mantis, that should work. Question mark there should be, I think. Must have done it wrong. Let me just fix this up. Oh, have we got two questions? Oh, we got two. Yeah, that's the problem. I had to get it into images, so I think the link puts it into images when you do it, and it doesn't do it otherwise, you see. How'd you get it to that? Bang. So it puts all this other garbage on. Trying to figure out how to hack Google here. Look at the rubbish. Look at that. Puts all that rubbish on there. But this, you need like and images or something. Source, maybe it's that next one. Maybe it's just that one. Source equals in MS, whatever that stands for. So I'll just copy that. Okay, does that get us to the right place still? Nope, it didn't. So what's missing? Aliens. No. Must be that encrypted number there, is it? VED. Oh, Jesus. Oh, well, I'll just paste what I've got then. He wanted to go and have a look at those images later, but it looks like we're not going to be able to get it. But that one there has got the same ones, I think. Yep, I think that's all the ones I went through. So if he watches it back, he will hear me say that. I think you just click on that search one and then hit tabs and then it corrects it for you. But yeah, there's some good images here. Look at this one here.
Oh, I know, those are great.
Alien races, praying mantis. So who we got left on the side chat? Anyone? We got 3 watching apparently. So we still got this web page here talking about alien agendas. We can go through and read it, I guess, and round off the night on that. And anyone that wants to ask any questions on the site. What was this one here? The mantid beings. Are they different species? They look all slightly different. Maybe that's all the ones people have drawn over the years. I suppose it's possible, you know, variations and mantis that hit.
Right.
You know, might look like humans are not all the same. You know, humans are humanoid, but we have different color skin, different color eyes. So it's possible that mantis have a range of different mantis designs. Yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, it'd be good to get him on a Friday, which will be a Thursday night, which is like after his work sometime, and then he can talk much longer. But often he's too tired in the week because he does a nursing job and looks after disabled children, which obviously is like looking after autism kids or autistic kids, which is a lot of energy involved. Well, look at this one here. Now let's have a quick look at that one. They're in monk outfits. And it's got this long hallway here, opening up doorway. But like what he was talking about. Alien abduction, the praying mantis sighting. So what's that one? I'll just have to be a nosy now. I suppose you want to go to bed too, don't you? So what's the time?
Actually, yeah, it's getting late here, actually.
8:43. Okay. But we won't spend too much. It looks like it's different. What is this place? What is it? There's like pictures. T. What's that? T. Tumblr. So these are on Tumblr. Whatever that is. I don't use it.
Oh, Tumblr.
Tumblr. Yeah. Look at that one. That one's pretty cool. So are people selling this, or they're using it? Oh, it says follow. So these are all different UFO alien accounts. What looks like aliens. Oh, right. That makes sense. And it shows there's only a few of them too. That's a bit of shame. What else we got? Must be getting to the end. Yeah, but that would, you know, if you saw a mantis like that would scare the poo out of you, wouldn't it? When you woke up from a deep sleep or something. Oh god. Me, I'd be like a Daryl Sims. I'd probably want a baseball bat or one of those heavy metal torches, and I'd just simply grab it and whack it on the head or something, you know. Because you'd think you're being home invaded or being murdered, you know. You can see why they paralyze people, though, just for that thing. Humans would react really badly seeing it for the first time. And of course, they're going to attack you because they don't know what they're seeing. Or what's this one here? Mantis alien. This one looks like a full picture. Oh, crazy one. It's got looks two aliens from the Alien movie there, and one little popping out. So yeah. So let's have a look at this alien agenda anyway. It's a bit of a shame we didn't have more people on though. On voice, because this is time we were setting up a new thing. Where people jumped on Discord and just asked questions instead of having to type it. So yeah, a bit of a letdown there, I think, for myself and Earl. Because, but anyway, let's have a look at this one. So these are all the different books or movies, is it? That he's using for reference. David Icke. Now, what do you think of David Icke? I think he's a bit Fruit Loopy myself.
Yep, so do I.
He talks about reptilians living amongst us. Well, I haven't seen any reptilians yet myself. So how they disguise themselves, I don't know. So what do we got here? What's it say here? Drake equation? We can go into Drake equation. Are we alone in the universe? Of course not. We're not even alone on Earth. Even assuming that a finite 3D universe, let's see if I can get it in the middle here, slightly over. 3D universe, all there is. Calculations show a high probability that intelligent life exists elsewhere in the galaxy, and that Earth has seen the presence of extraterrestrials, or ET as we call them. Or EBEs. So what's that stand for now? Extraterrestrial biological entities. And the Drake equation doesn't even take into account panspermia, which we talked about a few live streams back. That is, a civilization becomes advanced enough it can seed life on other worlds, hence exponentially multiplying the probability and spread of life throughout the galaxy, or actually the universe, really. But that's what we brought up with Earl, saying that maybe people going missing are also being transported or planted on another planet. Because you've got to have enough gene pool in the DNA, else you start getting birth defects and all that. So you need probably a fair population on a new world and DNA variety to be able to do it. But maybe what they're doing is they're taking blood, right? And maybe they're using that to produce new life by merging DNA with DNA to make so they don't take people from their home world, but actually using their DNA to make babies on another world or other planets. Why?
That's what,
You know, you broke up then. Sorry. Yep. Carry on.
Yeah, that's probably more than likely what would be happening, I would think.
Yeah, but humans. Why humans though? Because they're sort of aggressive bunch of people that like to destroy planets. So why humans? Maybe humans is like maybe we're like the initial intelligent species than any other planet, maybe, or maybe we don't suffer from some sort of genetic defect like other civilizations have. So maybe they're using us like the base gene or something, maybe because we haven't evolved as much or something. I don't know. But yeah, more questions than answers as usual. The Drake equation doesn't even take into account panspermia. And where do we get to? Yep. Anyone with common sense knowledge this probability, anyone with an open mind research the subject, and anyone with open eyes who does the research will confirm themselves that aliens exist. have been active in our past and continue to actively evolve into human affairs today. Skeptics tend to be ignorant and refuse to examine all evidence, closing their eyes and claiming they don't see any evidence that aliens exist. The Fermi paradox, or if aliens exist, then why aren't they here, is like a blind man asking if the sun exists, then why don't I burst into flames when I step outside. False assumptions and lack of perception stemming from lack of proper investigation truth. Ignorance is never proof to the contrary, and seemingly non-existent of evidence isn't evidence of non-existence. Yep. I think, therefore I am. Evidence is evident everywhere, that from worldwide religious and mythological accounts describing ancient encounters with advanced beings, anomalous archaeology sites, and artifacts indicating past use of superior technology. Not too sure on that one. Over a century's worth of eyewitness sightings of UFOs. Hundreds of physical trace samples. Yep, you were going to say something, were you? Oh, I thought you were cutting in. Well, have we got someone else on the voice? Recovered from UFO landing sites, government documents, and whistleblowers. Yeah, but a lot of it's fake, though. That's our point. We're trying to get rid of all the noise, all the fake stuff, and focus on the real stuff, And Earl he's right into it. He's getting to hear all the abduction stories, hundreds and hundreds of them, and he's had his own experience, which is quite fascinating, I find. And although years ago I would have thought all these people were crackpots, now I have a different viewpoint on it, and that there's more going on. And I don't believe everyone is in a dream state when it all happens. That chase encounter in a paddock there is point an example. Multiple people saw it, obviously. So, yeah. So where would we get to? Landing site, thousands of abduction cases, including multiple witness memories. So that's the thing with abduction cases also. They don't tell you on these skeptic programs when they debunk it that half of them happen during the daytime when you're not sleeping, and 60% of them may happen with people that actually witness it, and all this sort of stuff. So, and there's physical evidence, scars that seem to be the same on everybody, and all that sort of business. In a nutshell, what is alien agenda? Mankind is being enslaved by non-human forces who are technically, physically, and dimensionally superior to us, but not necessarily spiritually. And therein lies our freedom. So yeah, Earl was saying that they find it a mystery from what he's heard, that we have love with empathy and all that, and obviously they don't have the same sort of feelings. So they couldn't be a pet owner, could they? They couldn't have a cat and they couldn't have a dog, because they wouldn't be the same interaction if you just treat them like a food source or cold-hearted person. It wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah. Now, this is all the thing that's popping into my head. You can add your own stuff there if you want to, John.
Oh, God, there's plenty to think about. I'd rather not. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, you can always add in your theories and stories or what you've heard and stuff that I've forgotten. They consist of multiple factions spanning multiple dimensions. So how do you know this? This is we don't know if it's a dimensional thing, but Earl mentioned that it probably is, or some sort of energy field, which is some advanced technology, is all the other thing I could think of, like a wormhole technology where they can hop around on the Earth or go inside the Earth into caverns, or even into the sun, or into other planets. So yeah, it's all possibilities there. It's all theories, but there's no hard evidence. Well, not to us out in the public anyway. Someone might know on the inside, and do our secret government in USA there have all the answers, and Russia and China? They're the big land masses where things surely are going to crash or go wrong. Technology goes wrong, where they get glimpse into these crazy creatures or machines. So let's carry on here. Multiple factors, locations and space-time. Well, I've talked about space-time. That I think it's wrong, and I've given some links and information about that. But traveling in space, but you're not moving back in time or changing the time itself. I think when you go onto drugs, right? People talk about lost time. It's really that they sort of get tranquilized, and then they wake up and they just remember they were in the truck at 9 p.m. and now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And I think it's not time being affected. It's just maybe there's some sort of chemical that you breathe in that sort of knocks you out, but like a date rape drug or something like that. So I could see how some people can interpret it with maybe crazy outside theories, but there might actually be something more practical, like poison ivy on Batman, where the smell actually knocks you out. Some stuff you breathe in gets into your lungs, but like smoking weed or whatever, and then it just affects you. But we'll just carry on down through the list here. Have we got any side chatters there asking any questions? I better check. Who we got here? Renee, are you back with us again? Oh, you're the only one on, by the looks of
Yeah.
it. They'd be dead in the hospital. What's this about the hospital? I failed my 4th blood test yet again. Blood platelets are still too high, so I have thrombosis. Gonna take a 5th test and wait for results in 4 months. So I don't know what that is. If it gets way too high, then bone marrow test. Ouch. Sounds like cancer, doesn't it? By then I would be dead in the hospital. Need MI for arthritis. Doctor suspect it's because of thrombosis. Yeah, we just don't know when we're going to get some crazy stuff that happens to us as we get older.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that, Renee.
Yeah. But that's the thing. If they spent more money on hospitals and research, all this stuff could have been solved by now, I reckon. Diabetes, heart disease, replacing the arteries in your body with nanobots or whatever. You could probably live forever. Also, they think that now they've cracked the code for slowing down aging. Like cells have a built-in destruct thing. It's a bit like Blade Runner. That's why I always like about Blade Runner. They made the replicants and the clones of humans, but they had like a 30-year lifespan built into the cells. But it's the same as us. We've only got like a maximum of like 100 years mostly of a maximum lifespan. And when you think about it, you're going to die. You spend all your life on Earth scraping and saving money so you can buy nice things, so you can then enjoy holidays and cars and luxury things, and then you're suddenly dead.
Yep.
Instead, it should be the other way around, that you're born into like money, where you got lots of money, where you can do whatever you want, enjoy life as you're growing up as a teenager, going to different places and stuff. And as you get older, then you end up, like in retiring, slowing down. That would be good. We got it backwards. You start off at age, and you got to work hard and save every cent in case for your retirement, because no one's going to give you any money once you stop working. So I would just wonder, again, that's part of the alien agenda. What I'm sort of bringing up here is, do they work? Do they have worker ants, or do they have leaders that don't work? And there's always they got more perks. It might not be money that they have in their society, but it might be some sort of perk. I don't know. There's lots of yeah.
Different value system, I'm sure.
Yeah. Do they only live 6 weeks? The alien grey ones, the little worker bees. But then again, I've heard Dr. Jacobs saying there was no hierarchy. some greys are superiors and some mantas are superiors and all that sort of stuff. So it looks like a mixed race system and aliens as well, and they've got hierarchy throughout all the different races or creatures or what do you want to call them. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff, I think. Just just thinking about it and just wrapping your head around it all, and even if it's a story, it's a fascinating story. But I believe that there's a lot more going on there, especially after talking to Earl there for a couple of years now. We're sort of good friends on social media there, and that's why he comes on my live streams. So yeah, and you won't ever see him on Secure Team. I'd say that now. He knows the truth. A lot of people out there still don't know the truth about these big channels, but we're not going to go on to that. So what we got here? Whereabouts do we get to? We're now seeing. We are now seeing plans overtly manifest with the abduction and hybrid breeding program, and the imminent portrayal as saviors to the human race, gone mad with what's that world conflict? If the world accepts them as saviors, individual freedom as we know it will become snuffed like a blown candle, leaving only darkness. Given their technology superior, why don't hostile aliens forces just take over the planet? Let's see. For strategic reasons, the invasion is a drawn-out process rather than a single spectacular blitzkrieg, as one might expect, though the latter can be used to finalize the invasion once the first phase has spiritually tranquilized the target population. There are many problems with an overt invasion using physical force. History has shown that visible tyrants also visible targets who quickly fall if they reveal themselves before total control has been established. Smarter tyrants stay hidden and cleverly manipulate the population into first defeating and enslaving them. So that's like the human hybrid program. I'll post the link to this page. It's actually quite good, actually, how it's been presented. And it's got that nice little graphic agenda. Probably didn't get my E key, did it? And let me just zoom in. Oh, it did. But it's not picking up my D key. It's gone capital. And there we go. Paste that link there. So that's what we're reading out at the moment. Coming up to 2 hours, so we haven't done too bad. I thought we might have more people on telling their abduction stories or other crazy stuff that they can tell us on side chat or come on voice. My Discord link has been posted way at the top there of the chat, so join our Discord group. We have a group of hardcore UFO people there who've actually seen real stuff and the paranormal stuff, and we talk about it and post links there and use it like a prepping stage for coming onto lives as well, and also voice chat to the live system here. So you could come on at some stage after we've known you for a week. So join the Discord, and if we get to know you, we can invite you onto the live stream. I'm sure my moderators are probably posting stuff in the side chat and comments, and they will help you out on Discord as well, and see where we go from there. There are many problems with overt invasion using physical force. History has shown that visible tyrants are also visible targets, so we've covered that bit already. Cosmic tyrants exist who seek to assimilate entire worlds into their empire. The premature invasion by those who have targeted us could lead to resistance and conflict, threatening the two resources they have come here to exploit. So that's another thing. could Earth have some minerals or resources that's not on any other planet in the universe? And they might be coming here to go underground to mine for it. It's another possibility. And they're using humans maybe to be miners. So who knows? They may be enslaving them to be miners. A bit like that.
The rarest thing on this earth is life, and anything else you can find anywhere else in the universe. But the one thing you don't find throughout the universe is life. And I think that this planet is used as a sort of like a, a greenhouse or something for them to come and pick whatever they want to pick and move on to wherever they're going to move it on to.
I didn't even know you're connected. Where did you just sneak on? You've been sitting there lurking.
Sneaking here. I was sneaking in here.
Well, John didn't even say you were connected, so I didn't even know you're there. Yeah, you just missed Earl. He was only on for an hour and a half. You should have come on and talked to him. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's sort of tied up, unfortunately.
I saw there was a live stream going, was there, on Hangouts by you? Was it you doing the Hangouts?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But we did broadcast it around to let people know in advance that this was going down. But yeah, so I'm just going through this guy's website. It's quite good. It's quite a lot of information here that they're covering, pretty well summed up. So they prefer that we willingly hand over ourselves and planet with least amount. So you're saying that DNA life here is unique to anywhere else in the universe. Is that what you're saying?
Not unique to anywhere else in the universe. I think it's rare. I think the life on this planet, what kind of life that we have here, is a type of life that exists fragile in a fragile environment, and are stronger than us. So I mean, there's no way to say, who or what, or what it could be. All I know is what I've seen, and what I've seen exists way beyond, on a scale way beyond us.
All right.
Way beyond technology, maybe even life itself exists like at another level that's unable for us to even really comprehend.
All right.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like where it's so beyond our means of physics and everything else. They play with our physics like it's like child's play for them. Whereas for us, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? To do anything or whatever, they've mastered it and they're beyond it.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Earl's story then?
Yeah, I heard some. I think I heard most of it, I guess, and it's pretty heavy.
So you talked about. I told your story about the cop car. You said it on Paranormal Scope. So here's the opportunity to plug your episode down the side, or I think Cuvid was doing one, wasn't he? I think he gave me a link here. Was it?
Fixed it. They put it the correct one up and all that, so it's all good to go.
Yeah, really, you just need to post it on the lives there. I can't really do it. I'm not sure what I'm doing there, but I'll leave it for you. So if you want to post the link there. But yeah, you want to tell your story about the cop car chase thing going, and just tell people what you saw happen, or
well, this was pretty recent. This was like maybe a year ago, or so maybe a year and a half ago. I was on a way to my friend's house, and it was probably about 10 o'clock in the evening. I would say maybe around 10ish, or so, not too late. And I was on Highway 88, and about halfway between Lodi and Jackson, there's a straightaway there that goes like a long straightaway, and then it kind of bends to the left a little bit and goes straight a little bit more, and then it bends a little bit more to the left and goes straight and goes up over a hill. Anyway,
can Shuri put up a picture of that location so people can see whereabouts it is, or not?
I don't really want to go in that specifics because I still don't know what happened.
All right, so
I don't kind of.
So, what sort of terrain are we looking at there, so we can sort of get a rough terrain where we're looking at?
Or a single lane each way highway. You have oncoming traffic highway. It's like a regular, typical, highway. With a W line and then passing lanes.
Right.
That are passing areas.
What was the region again? I'll just type it in here, see if we get some pictures of the area that we're looking at.
It's in the valley area of it's in the foothill actually. That would be technically the foothills. It's not quite the valley.
Yeah. Then what's the city name or the region?
It's like the gold country of California.
The what? I didn't quite. You clipped off there.
Yeah, they call it the gold country there. It's all the foothills, where all the gold was found. It was right by Sutter.
Yeah, but I still didn't get just because you cut out on the front for some reason. Gold Country, or what's the name of the place?
Yeah, like where the gold was discovered in California. It was all in that area.
California. Yeah, but isn't it not a place name? What is it called? Something County, they call it, don't they?
Where I was at, there's no. It was in between towns or anything like that. It was all rural area, so there was no. The nearest town is like Ione, I think it's one of them. There's like Ione is one.
How'd you spell that?
And then there's Ione, I believe.
B. Ione.
There's
okay. Hang on.
Right.
California. Let's see what comes up. Ione, California. There we go.
Yeah, it's right by Comanche Reservoir, right along there.
Okay, let's just bring up some images so we can see where we're looking at.
I'm gonna let you guys carry on. I need to get going here. My eyes are falling out of my head. They're so swollen.
Okay, John.
Really.
Yep.
But, thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Okay, mate. See you.
Talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you.
So I was just trying to get some pictures up here.
Yeah, actually in that area too, there's been a lot of Sasquatch sightings, believe it or not, too.
Here we go. There's a map.
It's sort of northeast or northwest of Yosemite, like the entrance. If you go down a little ways down south, you hit Yosemite.
Right.
It's not that area there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, California mining claims, Ione, and mineral deposits. And here's some maps coming up. It's pretty.
But anyway,
it's pretty hilly there, isn't it? And we got a lot of highways.
It's rolling hills. There's flat areas that are pretty flat, and then it goes down a hill and then up a hill or whatever, and then then you hit the mountains and it starts getting more and more where you're going up and down, up and down. But where I was at, it was starting to settle out because I was almost to the valley.
So you call this bit here in the middle of the valley, is it? From the hills here?
Yeah. I came around that last bend there, and there's a highway patrol sitting there with his radar. And I was doing at least 85 and a 55.
Up here? You're talking about up here?
What's that?
You're talking about on the map? Are you looking at the screen? Coming around the bend, which direction are we heading? This way, was it?
On 88 or whatever, however.
I don't think.
At that point, I'm not sure exactly the way it was going, but the highway runs east-west.
Okay. So, yeah, tell your story then. I won't interrupt because you cut out when I talk.
So, in there's two long straightaways, that are there's passing areas there and all that. But there was nobody to pass. I was the only car on the road, and that I could see for miles. And I came around that bend there, and there was a cop sitting there, and he hit me with his radar, and I looked down, and I was doing 85. So I expected to be pulled over. You know what I mean? Like you would expect to be pulled over going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. Yep. Of course.
And, getting a citation of at least 15 miles an hour over, 20 miles an hour over. Is what they were.
Well, Earl was
a nice fat.
Yeah, Earl was saying that he had to go to driving school, and he was only 6 miles over the limit going around a bend.
Yeah, I've gotten pulled over for 4 miles an hour. I've gotten a ticket before too. So
wow!
I've had over 110 tickets.
Really? for being 4 Ks over the limit or 4 miles over the limit. Bloody hell!
I got 9 in California one year because in Nevada they don't share their driving records, so it's just a toll for me. I can drive as fast as I want. I just have to pay when they pull me over.
But don't you lose you lose your license though after so many speeding fines?
You do if you're a California driver, but I'm not a California driver. I'm in
Oh,
Nevada.
okay. Well, carry on.
And Nevada is a funny state. They do not share their driving records with any other state.
Right.
The only one that they have to share is DUI, obviously, because that's a different level, fraction. But
right.
Anyway, so I'm going around there, and I know I'm going to be hit, whatever. So I'm starting to slow down. and I see the cop flip around and turn on his overheads and start to come after me. And when all of a sudden I saw this light coming from out of the sky, like behind it, and I could see it through the rearview mirror, and it like came right down and engulfed the police car. And the police car was stopped the last I saw.
Right.
And something for me to go, just get out of there. Like, here's your free pass or whatever, like, you know. And I wasn't going to be on the highway much longer. I was turning off anyways to go down a farm road.
I thought you said a light shined on it.
No, it was like a light came down from the sky, like a big, bright, like lit object of some kind, and engulfed the police car. Went around it like a strobe, like it was all around it every which way.
Oh,
like,
so it
like
wasn't a beam of light then.
No, it was so bright that it was brighter than his overheads.
That's really
so
strange.
whatever it was, it was brighter than, and then his LED overheads, which are really bright on those cop cars now.
Right.
So and so that was one, you know, like one of the most weird things. That's something I can't deny happened. You know what I mean? Like, and I've seen these things before come down and do some weird things. I had one crash in front of me and another car at the state line when on a trip out of here. And yeah, in fact, we both stopped and the people were like, "What was that?" And I'm like, I know, you know. And it hit the ground, like stuff came off of it, like it sparks and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know what it was. It was like it was traveling along the side of me and went in front of me and then turned and cut and went right in front of me and like crashed. Whatever it was, I had no idea what it was. It didn't. By the time I got up there, it was gone. Whatever it was, if there was anything left of it, it was very odd. And like there was another witness to it too. You know what I mean? I've had many a times where I've actually witnessed these things with strangers. Like people are just happen to be there when it goes on. You know, and this stuff goes on around me a lot sometimes. It's not consistently always like all my whole life. It has. I don't know. I just started to recognize some of these things going on a few years ago, and it sort of led me down a pretty crazy path.
It's
it's
a shame that you didn't get the people's names and addresses and stay in contact with them, because at least they could verify your story.
People were on a highway going in each direction, and like I'm stopped for like 2 seconds going, "Oh, what?" And then I was like, wasn't staying around, you know.
Yeah, the people take off.
Yeah, it was like 11 o'clock at night, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, you don't expect that to happen, but then like I don't know what it was. They don't know what it was, and it wasn't very big. You know what I mean? Like the size of a maybe like a platter. You know what I mean? Like a large platter.
And so your children also have seen things. Would they be old enough to come forward on camera and verify the stories with you?
My son wouldn't be, because he was like around 2 years old, and he actually had some weird things happen to him that my daughter and I both witnessed.
Right.
I don't, I don't have any contact with my kids anymore. So, or my so-called ex or whatever, whoever she is. So I doubt she'll even let her. It's not my daughter, actually. It's adopted.
All right.
You know, or I sort of adopted her. I didn't really actually do it. Right. So I guess it's like anything anyway. So.
Yeah. And
yeah, that's sort of a dead situation. And my dad died, and he was a witness to the GPS stuff. And hopefully I'll be able to dig the GPS stuff up. I'm getting kind of frustrated with that, because I had burned that on a bunch of discs, and I had
the GPS was on the seat next to you, wasn't it? And but you don't.
Yeah, that was.
But you don't remember. You don't remember the car being.
No, I had no idea about anything that happened. I was on my way to eBay for the 10th anniversary for a convention, and I was being sent there by the company that I was working for. And it wasn't for years later, probably a couple of years later, that I even knew that there was something wrong, and that was because my Garmin had failed. And it was like my 5th Garmin that failed, and so I was like, I put on the computer to download all the stuff off it, because I knew I was going to have to do all this, you know, resetting and stuff, and you know, in order to return it to him. And so when I put it all onto the computer, I happened to be looking through the stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was my eBay trip. And I was just happened to be looking down. I don't even know why, out of the blue, I was even looking at it, and all of a sudden it showed these deviations, and like it deviated off course like like 250 miles, and it said that I went 44,000 miles an hour or something like that, and for 4 seconds, and then it stopped logging when I hit the Vining, which is right at the Nels, what are they really called? Yeah, the air zone or whatever like that. It's all military.
Yep.
Anybody knows that, you know, a civilian GPS doesn't log when you hit a military installation, so it stops logging.
Oh, right.
And sense. So I took it, and I didn't know we could do this until I just by accident figured it out, that you can take Garmin GPS files and import it into Google Earth.
Yeah.
When I Google Earth, I use the little ruler, you know, the little mileage thing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I lined it up on the trajectory line that I was going on, and where it last left or whatever. And when I ran it all the way through, it went right through Area 51, went right through White Sands, you know, the area. Well, according to my GPS, I never varied the altitude that I was at from where I left from that point where I stopped logging.
Were you up?
You know, or whatever.
What altitude were you? Were you sea level or what?
39.
Hang on.
It was like 39 feet or something like that, and I didn't vary it at all. And it stopped logging at the Air Force base or whatever, the Air Force range or the test range. So I wouldn't know if it varied anything after that, because it was on bases after that.
Did you say 39 feet?
3,900.
3,900 feet. Okay.
Yeah, right. And there was no deviation through the mountain or anything. That's why I thought it's got to be an error or whatever. And then my dad studied the damn thing for hours and hours and hours, and he came back and told me, "There's no way that this made an error. This log, something happened. I think you've been abducted." And my dad was like totally a skeptic until that moment. Like, until that moment, he didn't do anything I was telling him about any of the stuff. Just like Jack's, just like everyone else. Until all of a sudden, it was for real to him. You know what I mean?
Well, I can't see how the GPS would record if it did actually happen myself. Maybe they can be hacked. I don't know, but yeah, it's very interesting.
Doing that though, I've never heard of one logging 44,000 miles an hour and stuff for 4 seconds and continue going off 250 miles off course like that and still log all the way through. It would have to have logged through solid rock. So that's where you're dealing with this technology. I told you that I've seen them go through solid objects. They change their form or something, or they do something to themselves that allow them to pass through things that are solid, because they're not really in this, they're in another dimension, I guess, or something. And that's what they pulled me probably through, but they're also here. This is what's so crazy. I can see them here when they're partially cloaked pretty easily sometimes, you know what I mean? Where I know other people don't, because I'm just attuned to it. And
but you say you haven't been
abducted
though.
I don't know. I only know is I have a regressed memory that I believe is a regressed memory of the event that happened. And if that was true, then I was taken by something, but I don't consider it abduction. Okay. Like other people might consider it abduction or whatever, but they did not harm me or anything in that manner that I know of.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I can't say that, you know, I don't even know what we're doing here.
Okay.
Really, after everything else, you know, I don't really know what human beings' purpose are, or I don't know what my purpose is anymore. And if these things have the ability to do this kind of stuff to me or whatever, then they have dominion over me.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do about it. So, you know what I mean? If I'm at their mercy.
So what's special about Vern that they want to protect you and take you away?
I don't know. Maybe it's fucking bloodlines. I don't know. One thing that's funny is I don't have a blood type. So another thing that's funny about me is I don't have a blood type.
All right.
If you can believe that, I have no blood type.
Okay.
I've tried to get my blood typed. I've had surgery 6 times. Okay. You think that I could get my blood type when there's surgery, right? Isn't that kind of customary on there?
Well, you have to. As you die, if they put the wrong blood type in, yeah.
They never put it on there. It's always blank. Okay?
Why
is it always?
Yeah,
I even asked the doctor. The doctor goes, "Yeah, I'll get your blood type."
Yeah.
The surgeon, right?
Yeah.
And comes back, and I'm like, "Oh, by the way, what's my blood type?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I was going to get that." Oh, that's funny. It's always like, I'll go and check on that for you and come back. And you know, like on your birth certificate, you have your blood type, right?
I don't know if mine has it. I'd have to check.
That's a place for it, because mine's blank.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I know mine either, and I've had surgery and all sorts going on. So, and I always want to know.
Specifically asked to type you? No, you didn't, did you?
No.
I did every fucking time because nobody can ever tell me I go to the blood bank or whatever, and they're like, they do the screening, and next thing I know, they're telling me I can't give blood because I failed their screen or whatever when I was in high school. So and they took a sample or whatever like that, and I'm like, I asked them, I go, what's my blood type? And they're like, oh, we'll get that information to you. Just well, we'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you on that. They never get back to me. I go back and whatever. Oh, we've lost it or something. They haven't lost it. They won't tell me because they can't type me.
Yeah, just
I don't know.
Just watch the
fucking doctor. What the fuck? Why can't we get his blood type? He was like, my last doctor did.
Vern, can you watch the F bombs, please? A lot of people get offended when they hear that. Yeah, just say munted for F or whatever. It's really munted that you can't get your blood type. That's a Kiwi term,
I thought, but then again, I guess I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's not important for me.
That's really strange. Nowadays you got the technology where you could probably work out your own blood type.
Plus my ear. This little thing.
So I was just having a look at the site to see if there's anything else. So you want what was the reason? I'm not sure I heard the reason whether your cameras fell, but you Jax from Paranormal Scope went UFO hunting with you, and you saw a couple of UFOs, and you didn't get them on camera. And I want to know why the camera wasn't rolling or something like that, or was there a problem like KC's investigation where all the batteries suddenly die, or the
what are you talking about?
Well, Jax went with you, and you were out walking. You saw a TR3B above you.
I didn't have a camera, and if you expect me to do it with a cell phone, cell phones don't.
But wasn't Jax? Jax was UFO hunting with you, wasn't he? So he would have had a camera.
No, they weren't UFO hunting with me. They were with Alex. Alex brought them up here.
Oh.
They were going around UFO hunting. They came up to say howdy to me. They were just visiting, and I took them out there. They weren't really planning on doing it much, whatever. So.
Right, you didn't have cameras with you.
I shot a UFO video the day they came, though. During the daytime, I had that daytime sighting,
right?
Which is that mess that keeps getting messed up, but that it plays once in a while and then it doesn't play. I don't know. It's fucking crazy. Sorry, it's very crazy. There's something really absolutely bizarre that's going on with like everything I do. You know what I mean? It's just actually frustrating. It's like it's to the point where I've wanted to quit doing it. To be honest, it's like because of all the crap that I have to deal with, and with people too. Like people just going like melting down around me too. Every time I turn around, I mean, like my girlfriend, around Jax, and I mean, like just for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, they're I don't know.
Well, a lot of abduction folks, I think, get divorced. I was going to ask Earl some of the stats there, what he knows. But I think even if they're religious and abduction happens, it sort of destroys their worldview because it doesn't fit in with Christian faith and all that. And there was one case he was talking about where the guy drew his ex-wife in a witch's hat, which I was laughing my head off because it was actually quite a good drawing. So their marriage broke up, and she said the aliens were demons and all that. So you dropped off, have you? Are you there? Oh, you're there. So that was a quite interesting one. That was back when we did the first strange cases with Earl. I think I posted the link there in the comments further up if you want to go and find it. But it's a very interesting case, and I think Renee was on there at the time, weren't you, Renee? If you're still out there. I'm not too sure why we don't have people come on to my live streams, because we had some really interesting stuff brought out from an actual real investigator, that's actually investigating these things. So we're trying to get rid of all that noise in the UFO field, all the garbage that's being put out there, and actually we're focusing on more of the stuff that's being trying to figure it out, So yeah, we need to keep promoting my channel, and we'll get more decent guests on. And you won't see Earl or MUFON on security, even though he said that MUFON TV wanted him on interview.
Well, you got to understand, they got to go where the traffic is. They're going to get exposure, and I mean, whether you like it or not, those channels generate a lot of interest, and it sucks the way they do it, but
Well, just think if I doubt if they're even broadcasting that I'm on live with Earl from MUFON, even though I put it in the title, they probably don't know it's happening out there.
People are so trendy, and they want to see clickbait. They want to see something that's going to blow their minds. They want to see something that's vivid. They don't want to see, or wait around to see if something happens. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. People don't understand how much effort it takes to go and be in the places that I've been, because there's more than just putting yourself there. Okay, because there's things that go on out there that terrify people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And there's times where, like, I'm not sure whether I should be terrified or scared, or if I'm nuts, or what I'm doing out there.
Yeah,
because I've been out there where it's been pretty like hairball. Like, I've been surrounded by things out there, and I don't know what they are, and like, they're observing me, or they play with me, they follow me around, and it's no BS. You know what I mean? Like, I put myself there on one hand, but maybe I was chosen to be there, and I'm just responding the way they want me to. I don't know. I can't answer that, because like when I had that regressed memory of that whole event that happened with my GPS, they told me one thing that was pretty phenomenal, and that's that we're letting you remember. Okay, so, and I looked around, and I was on a grid with, like, I know it was 20 by 20, and that means 400 people, so 399 other people, right? And I could easily count. For some reason, I remember I counted 22 ships there, and one of them was going in and out of the other place there, and one of them was separate from the rest of the other group. And the other group, they were controlling people by twos, because the thing that was talking to me was controlling, I think, the person next to me, because I remember looking over the person, and it was like weird. I was like, the person was familiar to me, like I recognized him from somewhere. I don't know, like, but I mean, maybe I would recognize them if I saw them again or whatever, but I can't tell you what they look like. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's fake. But it just felt familiar. Like, I'd know the familiarity. I don't know how to explain it. It's weird, but I mean, it was very limited. I remember looking over at this mountain, and the mountain was open, and I could see in there, and it looked like space. It looked like space, like when looking in the mountain, it looked like space. It was all black and like with stars or whatever, and the ship was going in, and then another ship was coming out.
I wonder why the mountain though. Why not just have it open in space, in sky? Like above the road or whatever.
The ships were like shaped in such a way that, like, depending on how they turned, they'd look like a disc, or they'd look like a cigar kind of shape, but they had this taper to them,
right?
And they were very, very reflective, like super reflective, like liquid mercury reflective, like looking,
right?
And they almost, like, the way they were moving, that they were liquid almost. It was like weird. But then where the being was standing that was talking to me was in the ship behind a screen, and I remember the screen, like, or whatever, like there was a white screen, and I could see a silhouette, like a shadow,
right? And
it was a person with a head and arms and all that, just standing there or whatever, like in the middle of it. And like I said, the ship was moving back and forth, and I remember they were moving like bugs, like bees, like how an insect would fly, like this, like that.
Yeah.
Yes, they were trippy.
Maybe they're protecting you, because a lot of people talked about many species of alien races. Hang on, many species of alien races, like 16. So maybe there's some other aliens out there that don't want them experimenting with you and want to put a stop to it. So they're always keeping an eye on you, so they don't interfere.
I've seen things.
Yeah. You carry on.
I've seen things that aren't like normally. I mean, I've seen something that I think is like a bio machine.
Right.
It's like it's half something, but I mean, I think they're capable of completely changing their form and being whatever they want to be. Pretty much. I mean, and however they're doing it, I don't know, but it's like their material is something between a metal and a fabric-like or organic woven fabric-like. I don't know how to explain it.
Like Terminator 2.
But more so than that, even that was like metal, right?
Yeah.
You know all that. But this, like, where they're forming stuff that is like organic looking. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, man. It's like,
yeah,
it's
meta material.
This is like where I'm stretching, you know what I mean? Like, because I was never educated in identifying a biomech machine, you know what I mean? Like this, a biomech, a thing that is so beyond our technology that it can actually shapeshift, shape change, metamorphosize itself to whatever it needs to do. It like go from one state of energy to another state. And why they choose to like be like this, I don't know. But these ones or whatever and I think they mimic other things. They can mimic whatever they want to mimic. You know what I'm saying? Like they can mimic a car, they can mimic us, they can mimic anything. They're a type of creature, life form, intelligence that might be so intelligent. It almost reminds me of like an octopus.
Yeah.
How octopuses are. You know how they're like.
Yep.
There's some of them are really weird. There's some of these cuttlefishes or whatever that are like they can change their form and their color and everything like that. But beyond that, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
you got Dr. Jacobs. I brought him up earlier. He reckons there being hybrids that is part human in them, DNA in them, and they're sort of being integrated into the society and governments and all that to better take it over, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. But what you're saying is you don't even need to do hybrids. That these creatures can just change form and look like us.
I think they could be a lot more than that. Even I think they actually do. They provide it more than just like a amazing look-see or whatever. I mean, I think that they're actually engaged and actively a role in our life in this planet. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be here if they weren't. But I think that and why they would need to be hidden or whatever, I don't know. I look at like how our technology has gone and how everything has been going, and it's like controlled almost by somebody, or we were taken over by someone who was really bad. You know what I'm saying? And maybe perhaps they're here to liberate us, but they have to liberate us like a certain way. Maybe, you know what I mean? It's not as easy as you think. Maybe they don't have the weapons that we imagine them to have because they don't need them. They don't use weapons. They don't have to use them. But maybe we have to use them because we're so primitive that we can't protect ourselves because we don't know how to protect ourselves properly yet. There's a way to do it. But you know what I'm saying?
It's possible. It's possible that there's multi-universes, right? And they're obviously going to have different technology, maybe, or even different DNA. And they may have found a way to connect into our universe. And these portals that you're seeing is actually where the membranes connect, and they just come into ours, and then they can leave through the same way.
The one that I saw actually transported itself out of this place, and that brought the place that it transported itself to here. And that became a portal, if you can imagine that. It was not like it just opened up a portal. It like just disappeared out of here and left in its place the other world, like perfectly around it's where it was.
So
like
it's zoomed off like a normal craft.
Yeah, like three-dimensional hole, even like you could enter. I don't know. I only saw it from one side, but I imagine if you were on the other side of this thing, this hole or whatever that was created, you could have entered it from any direction. It was three-dimensional. It was like that craft that was there. That disc was gone, and in its place was the other world. And it took about 2 minutes or so for it to slowly get smaller and smaller and smaller, where it closed. And it looked like it was like in the smallest possible place that it came out of, like where that opened up from. It's a trip. Like the whole way that they open up their little world or whatever is with one single photon or something like that. And like once they open that photon up, they go into another world where all the lights connected somehow. You ever heard that where they say that 1,000 points of light are connected or whatever, and they're like not like in conventional means.
Yeah.
To just connect. Yeah, well, it's just like that.
Okay.
I think.
Well, I'm going to wrap up
And
this live stream in, let's see, 10 minutes. So say whatever you want to in the last 10 minutes.
well, one last thing I would notice about in that other world that I was looking into was that there was something that resembled like a tree. You know, I think it was a tree, but it was huge compared to the other objects that were in there. And the other objects that were in there were numbered by the thousands, if not millions, because there were so many of them that they could hardly even move without knocking a couple of them out through that hole. And that's how I knew it was a portal, is those things would pop out there. And there were other discs, just like the one that went in or created the whole effect. And but they were smaller. They were identical to the one that went in there. So one thing I remember, when they were in that other world, they looked different. They looked like they were stenciled.
Maybe
Right.
maybe it's a connection to another planet in the same universe rather than being interdimensional.
I don't know. I don't have no idea, because it didn't look like anything like I've ever seen before. And the light over there looked like it was flowing, like it was like a gelatin. Almost.
Yeah, but it might be
like
one of these big gaseous planets that they're living on. They might be like insects based or live underwater or whatever. And it may be overpopulated. Like you're talking about, so populated when the portal opened that maybe some of the craft.
When the light was coming out, it was weird. It was like beaming like out of the sides of it, and it was like the world that I was looking into was gelatinous. But the light, I could see the light. It was like a pinkish or a yellow, orangish kind of color. You know what I mean? Like almost. And then when it came out of the sides, it was just the brightest white. It was like a welding white or sunlight white. You know what I mean? It was not normal light at all either. It was like light that you see from fusion, a fusion reaction or something.
So you,
like whatever the sun.
So do you reckon that the government know about this, or they're trying to still find out?
I have no doubt that someone in the government knows about this stuff. Absolutely, someone in the government knows.
What do you think on Skinwalker Ranch? Is that similar? You reckon it's similar there to what you've been seeing? Maybe it's like a hot spot.
I used to be out there at the time when all that stuff was going on out there, believe it or not. I was living in Utah, and I used to go out to Vernal, because it was named Vernal.
All right.
And we party out there pretty hard and stuff. And I had a couple of friends that were from, like, they were locals in that area,
Yeah.
And we were like close enough. And one of them was a full-blooded Ute, and he would freak out on like stuff now and again. And well, I pulled off the side of the road so we could take a break or something like that. And that's when we had this buffalo standing behind the back of my car, and there's no buffalo there. Apparently, he said it was a skinwalker, and I didn't know what he was talking about at the time. And there was babbling about all the skinwalker stuff and everything else, and we were like pretty close to that ranch. I imagine.
So the Skinwalker might be one of these aliens that you're seeing that are shift changes.
Well, the way they talked, it was a widespread area. It wasn't only that ranch, but it went on all around through that area. All that area was really like freaking taboo, Yeah. So, but I don't know. You know what I mean? All I know is that they were freaking out and all that, and they grew up there. And I thought I was, like I said, for the most part, I was a skeptic. I was pretty I don't believe in this, crap. You guys are freaking nuts.
So was
but
I.
I had these sense. That would change my whole point of view. And then it was after that I was making fun of him. I was mocking him.
Yeah.
And I moved into that house, and that house was haunted, and I had it like thrown right in my face. But so be careful what you for. I mean, seriously. Because you think, I wish this stuff would happen to me, because I used to think that. I wish this stuff would happen to me so I could see if it really does happen or whatever. And careful what you wish for.
Maybe you need to expand the wish. I'd like to see him, but don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Well, exactly. You need to be able to ask for your wish so that it's not conditional.
Yeah.
And see, that's the key to our language, is that we do not speak properly. And that's why a lot of times we don't get what we really want in life, is that the English language is a very difficult language to speak. And to be understood, or to speak it in a way in which it's literally correct, is almost for us impossible, because we're taught how to speak it incorrectly, actually, unfortunately, in quantities, because when we think of things of and such as like quantities, or we think of nothing, as being not a value, but nothing is actually a value. It's not a thing. That is actually the correct English for nothing, because that's why we have not a thing, and nothing is a zero, and a zero can be a scale. It can be an absence of everything, but without space or nothing, you can't have something.
Yep, and the universe could be infinite, not finite, like Big Bang is kind of suggestion. So they might be totally wrong about that it's like 14 billion years old. It could be forever old. You know, it could be going trillions of years, trillions and trillions.
It could be seamless, which means that it actually had a start and an end, but it became infinite, where it's like a tape that keeps playing, like an 8-track tape. You know what I mean? It just keeps playing over and over and over and over again, and it just gets built in layers. It's like a record, and each record, each time the thing turns, it makes another. Is that because time overlaps? I believe that everything overlaps. It's all continuously overlapping, and so therefore it exists. It's like we're rewriting on a hard drive. It's just layered. You know what I mean? It's just on layers.
Yeah, but time's moving forward though. It's not, even though you're recording it on a record, it's still, the time's still going forward. So
yeah, but we think it's only an illusion. It could be going in circles. For all we know.
I think the universe probably recycles energy, and what you're saying.
With the clock just goes in circles, right? How we tell time. Pretty distinctive thing, and yeah, it goes in circles.
Well, the old-fashioned clocks do, yeah.
Yeah, maybe those are maybe sundials. You know, that's how they determined the Earth was round, was with a sundial and measuring some stakes, right?
Yeah.
And what's funny though is that we have people today that don't know that the Earth is round because they weren't ever educated. I guess I don't know where they went to school.
Yeah.
But people in this country that think that the Earth is flat, need to go back to, like, I think, what is it, junior high? Yeah. You'd probably figure it out with junior high education.
Well, here's a good one on that page. Why can't aliens stay in our physical environment for long periods of time? They require psychic or etheritic energy to project themselves into our three-dimensional environment and remain stable. So that's what Earl was saying. He said it was like they were sucking energy out of them, but also taking blood out of them at the same time. So
where would they be taking blood out of them?
Don't know. Maybe
they're saving.
Maybe to reproduce them so he lives on. I don't know.
Maybe he has wrong with his blood platelets, and they're like correcting it. They happen to be correcting it.
It could be.
I had 7 appendicitis. Okay, I had a doctor pull up my appendix who said, when I was coming out of the anesthesia, he goes, "Vern, are you a cat?" I'm like, "What the hell?" I mean, like, I thought I was hearing things because, you know, you're coming out of the anesthesia and you think, "Oh, well, he's sick. I'm not a cat." No, I think I'm a human. I think I am. When I went in, you know.
Yeah.
So, no, that's not what I meant. He goes, you know, when we pulled your appendix out, it had scar tissue on it that indicated that it burst 7 times and you should have died every time. So how is it that you're alive here, sitting here?
That's
and I'm like, okay, so you're the doctor, right?
You need to get that. You need to interview that doctor and get him on record so we can actually verify what you're saying here, because people think you're going to be crazy saying that.
In the hospital, I made them let me go because I couldn't afford it. You know, I had to leave because it was $68,000 with the surgery as it was, and if I stayed at night in the hospital, it was going to be another $15,000.
Well, you must better verify that thing, or maybe if you did meet up with Earl, and maybe
it's in my medical, dude. All that shit's in your medical records.
Oh, well, you'd have to bring it out and make an episode saying, "I'm not telling the lies. Here's the evidence."
It's for my medical records. Only a doctor does. You have to do you have to actually get a lawyer, and you have to do a fucking. Oops, sorry. You have to do an actual request through a lawyer to get your own medical records.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Because they don't want you to look in your medical records because you might find something they did wrong or something.
Oh, right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, America always got that suing thing, haven't they? So, yeah, I think it's a bit different in New Zealand. I think you can get access to all your medical records, actually.
It's totally different because you guys get actual medical health insurance without having to worry about not having it.
Mm.
The right thing.
How can one stop being abducted? So that was wrap up. Let's see. Have I got things? I'll just check in. Okay, so let's just zoom in there and have a read. It's difficult to stop abductions permanently without round-the-clock vigilance. Nevertheless, they can be reduced in severity and frequency. Given up all karmic and ego-based reasons for wanting them to continue, choosing to resist abductions by firmly and frequently intending they stop, choosing emotional stability, possibility, and serenity over hypersteria and hang on. Learning from evidence gained after every abduction how to counter their tactic, increasing one's spiritual resilience by seeking and applying knowledge, praying for divine protection. Just person, I don't believe in praying gets rid of them, but they might sense that you want it to end, and maybe they stop it. You know, they can, if they can read your thoughts or control your thoughts.
There's spells.
Yeah, and I think
there's actual that you can actually cast, believe it or not, and you can say certain things and it messes with them.
But then you're agreeing that aliens are demons. Then that's a religious view.
There's only a couple of ones that I know that.
Yeah. So I was just reading that list out. That was quite interesting one. So I think that was getting near the end, was it?
What called the gospel, the ghost spell.
Why don't? Yeah, it sounds a bit religious there to me, though. But why don't negative forces just kill them? So that sounds religious.
Well, but I mean, any kind of like supernatural involves some sort of religious connotation because of the supernatural part of it, you know.
Well, of course, it could be linked to paranormal. See, and paranormal forces we don't know about. We don't know about souls. And
I think it could be linked to what I've seen and all the other stuff. All that stuff could be all the same, for all we know. What I've seen, those things can be whatever they want to be. So, you know what I'm saying? So that pretty much opens the the world to everything. You know, they maybe they gather. Maybe when you die, they gather your soul. I don't know. I don't know what, you know, around with me, a little toy with me. But they don't to give me every answer. You know what I mean? And sometimes I get answers they get from or whatever, you know, subtly. But well, I'm just a dummy. You know what I mean? For the most part, everybody, you know, goes, "Oh, you're so intelligent." And all this. No, they're the ones that make me this way. I'm not normally. I could stumble and fall over myself, you know, blue and not even see it with here, you know, like this, like literally, like just take me, you know, where I mean, I'll walk outside to like take a leak or something, okay, you know, just like a guy does or whatever, and look up and just happen to look right there, and all of a sudden there's stuff going on.
Yeah,
I mean, what are the odds? I mean, I have the whole entire night, the day, and everything else to walk out there. I walk out there right at that moment and stand there and look up and see that. You know, it's not. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so, because it happens so often. There's a point where you have to go, I don't think it's a coincidence anymore. It's like there's something going on here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen things coming out of like a flash. Like I see a flash up there, and this I've seen quite a few times up here.
Yeah.
And see like this thing come out like this, like corkscrew go like this, and then go over here and park right, and then about a minute, 2 minutes later, another flash, boom, and another one comes out, corkscrew, goes right next in a formation, and they fly off together. Now, like, what the hell is that? You know, and I'm not making this shit up. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, I mean seriously. I mean, I want to know. I need to know who this is or what this is that's operating here.
Yeah, because
I don't think it's right. Because if it's human beings operating these craft or whatever, then we're being freaking completely screwed out of our lives.
I think you just need to get some proof of some of the stuff you're saying, like the scar tissue and all that sort of stuff, you know, and then people will probably start accepting what you're saying. Really, I don't know how you're going to do it, apart from.
I have no reason to lie. It's all on the record. You know what I'm saying?
I still think you should really submit it to MUFON and have someone like Earl come along to your place and investigate it all for you. And
yeah, I'm already like wary of everything else, and I'd rather just like until I figure out what's going on, I need to handle it myself right now. I don't need any other people involved because they could screw it up. I've already been like where, I've been around other, had other people around out there that aren't with me or whatever.
Yeah.
But when they're out there, nothing goes on.
Yeah.
Like the whole area deadens down. So they don't make themselves available to just anybody. You know what I'm saying? And why me? I don't know. I don't know why. They know me better than I know myself, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got.
I mean, maybe this right here has something to do with it. I don't know. This thing here, I don't know. I send it. No, I got it from my dad. My sisters have got it, but my son never got it. So it's weird. Okay.
Got what exactly? Yeah.
I got it from my dad. Why didn't I give it to my son? If it was hereditary, you hear what I'm saying?
Oh, you're saying it's sort of like a brain thing that's connected to them or something.
No, it's something that they put it there to mark me.
So you reckon you got an alien implant then?
Like I said, I don't know what it is, but I have something in my arm that I'm pretty sure it's an implant. Actually, right here.
All right.
I need to deal with it's like it's causing me problems.
Anyway, Vern, we're coming up to 3 hours, so I'd like to wrap it up there with the end credits. So
yeah, I'm going to be doing my stream here in a minute. Too,
okay, so I'm just going to close down you and just round off on the credits here. So yeah, thanks for dropping in. Shane, you went on when Earl was on. You could have just maybe had to talk with him.
Yeah, we'll wrap up one of these times.
But hopefully I'll get him on again. Hopefully do a Friday one where it's like early evening after his work maybe, and see how we go. I might actually do 2 streams in one day. Who knows? I might do a 3 hour, then break it up into another 3 hour and have him come on straight after. But we'll see how it goes.
Stream one of these days too, just to do a 24-hour stream, just so that you can say you did it.
Me do 24 hours, so I don't know. My people in the house here would go apeshit. But anyway, I'm going to go round up now, and I'll just close you down there. Sorry, I'll catch you later.
I'll see you then.
Okay, that was quite interesting, and like I said, join our Discord group, and you can see, come and talk to us about all the stuff you want to talk on the group, and maybe even put it onto a live stream if you want to come and talk on live stream sometime. So I'm just going to wind up the credits here. Hopefully it works. It's all a new setup apparently, but I'm getting a new laptop, so that's going to be fun. So to switch to my end credits, do like and share. It's a free course, and it helps out the channel, and people can join us.